What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. With me today, we're going to talk Raw and Smackdown and maybe some, quote, news. I got Bishop. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Bishop bells, Bishop all the way. Happy holidays, my friend.
I like your dangle bells there.
Thank you. They dangle and they dangle. They jingle and they jangle.
Hell yeah, they do. Hell yeah. Man, it was okay, so there's a bunch going on with stuff all over in the news. There's shows happening, people saying that this is the typical lull for the holidays. I don't know about how I feel about that, but what's in your drink? What are you drinking? What's in your glass?
My glass is full of the old Black Adams with orange flavor. And I'm at a Teremana Blanco, so I went with just a vodka. So
very good. I'm having coffee with a little butterscotch schnapps in it.
'Tis the season.
Dude, here's the deal we found out this month. Butterscotch is really good in a lot of things. Like when I first thought of it, because, you know, we're looking at the little schnapps because they're on sale, and we're like, hey, we got some eggnog. What should we put in it? And the producer is all like, butterscotch sounds good. And I was like, you sure you don't want like mint or something? You know, something that goes in a lot of things. And she's all like, no, butterscotch sounds great. I was like, all right. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with it. Not once we're done with the eggnog.
Right.
Turns out it is so good in so many things. It's amazing in coffee. You got to have it in root beer, dude.
Okay.
It makes it taste like a root beer cream soda float all at once. It's awesome in Dr. Pepper. It's really good in tea. Dude, I started putting in all sorts of stuff, and I was like, I'll be goddamn, butterscotch is probably the most underrated and most versatile schnapps in the history of time.
I'm just listening to you become an alcoholic diabetic, but go for it, man.
Well, it's the zero sugar soda.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Plus, it's Fat December, dude. Haven't I told you about Fat December? Did I talk about that on episode 1?
I must have missed it.
Dude, Fat December.
Nice.
Throwing keto to the wind. I'm just having whatever I want all month. But at the same time, we still like look back during the day and stuff. We're like, oh man, we ate keto all the way up until dessert tonight. You know, like, so it's not like super overboard, but I've had like 4 milkshakes this month.
Right.
That's which is kind of overboard, which I am into it.
Right.
Been having 2 desserts most nights. It's like, well, now that we're done with the pie, should we also have an ice cream sandwich? Yes, we should.
Yes, we should. That's funny.
Then
That's funny. No, when I was a kid, my dad had this ice cream sundae briefcase. You know, back in the 80s, everything came in a briefcase. So you open it up and had the glass dishes and the spoons and the jars of the good stuff. And I butterscotch every time.
Oh, dude.
Butterscotch and vanilla ice cream. So I would imagine it goes good in eggnog. But
unbelievable.
I did go to this restaurant twice in the last 2 weeks, and they had an eggnog martini. I'm not an eggnog guy because I don't like to drink my custards. I would rather eat them like an ice cream or a cheesecake. But this eggnog martini was amazing. It has vanilla vodka and Kraken rum in it with eggnog and nutmeg. So I'm going to be trying to make those for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
Just need a good knob.
The first time I had Kraken and eggnog was like 10 or 11 years ago. And that was like a game changer one where I've had people ask me before, like, I don't know what's a good rum for eggnog. And every time I say Kraken, it's still probably the best rum for eggnog. It's so spicy.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not like a Captain Morgan where it has like the vanillas and stuff either. It's got that boost to it. So the vanilla, I was thinking of doing the Captain Morgan, but I like the deepness of a dark rum. So that plus the vanilla vodka to give that hint. I mean, it was fucking amazing. So I'm going to try it both ways because the Kraken bottle was the big one and the vanilla vodka was the small one. So now I just need like this much eggnog to make sure that I can use all that liquor. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, just make it one big punch.
That too.
Yeah, make a giant punch bowl. I saw at the store the other day they were selling it was at Big Lots. They're selling the National Lampoons. Remember the moose classes?
Oh yes.
They made a moose punch bowl.
Nice.
So fuck sweet. Let's
get the party
going. No.
Why not?
No, we don't have people over.
So you're
punch. I just keep
just keep going.
Can you imagine, like, hey, we need to clear off a shelf in the fridge for my eggnog punch bowl?
Ice cubes, ice packs, leave it out. You're fine.
It's got those big fucking like blue ones from like a cooler just floating in it.
Yeah,
keeping it cold.
Yeah, it's keeping it cold.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, dude, really good stuff. Let's see. Let's talk stuff. So I know we talked a little bit before the air about a couple of things. I'm thinking that even that one news thing we mentioned, we can talk at that Run Raw segment we mentioned. I think that you can put it all into one thing. So the big news, what do you think about Sasha Banks? You've heard me fantasy booker for,
Yeah. Well, I did. Yeah. You were just going to say the whole month, right? The whole month of January.
Yeah. I booked the whole month for her.
Yeah.
Do you think that, you think I'm onto something?
I tell you what, I think it's more possible now than ever. Let's put it that way. I think it's more possible now than ever. Like when Cody did this a couple years ago and he did 4 different major pay-per-views in the same year. I think it's more possible than ever that someone like a Sasha Banks or hopefully Charlotte Flair can lend themselves to be booked on bigger promotions on TV individually and it not sacrifice stories in any company. So I think Sasha could absolutely have one-offs wherever she wants. And as long as she's in control of her direction, I don't necessarily think she'll lose any steam.
I do think...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
it's fine.
I do think that I think that she can, by doing this stuff, she can maintain her star power because, being on TV matters.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if it's an asshole thing to say or not. I don't think those companies will help rise her star any.
No,
that's
the
true. Visibility of WWE does.
I completely think Sasha's maxed out. I don't think she's going to get any higher no matter what she does, to be honest. I don't even think, unless she blows us away with some crazy acting role or some new type of performance on TV. I don't think she's going to get any higher than she is. The issue is, does Sasha Banks translate into Mercedes Vernado in New Japan? Or is it a licensed deal with the Sasha Banks name? Is she going to be able to carry herself in multiple promotions under different names? Or is this a joint deal with WWE to use the Sasha Banks likeness? Because even as the Mandalorian character, where I believe she didn't have any speaking lines, she has the marketability afterwards, but it doesn't draw you to the series. Her performances aren't bringing you to these other places. When you think you're getting Sasha Banks is why you want to see it. So I think that's what'll end up happening, is that we'll end up getting Sasha Banks, doing a match, but is Mercedes a different person wrestling a different way? That's what Cody did, right? He went from Stardust to wrestling like Cody and changed his wrestling ability. And now he has this different look to him all the time. Unless she changes up, we're just going to get Sasha Banks everywhere. And she's great. She's not going to, but she's not going to elevate. She's going to have no extra star power. I don't think so.
And it's also not a knock to say that she may be at a peak either, because,
it's a big peak.
It's a big peak. Yeah. I mean, you can make the same argument for John Cena in the past, 10 years, his star power. I mean, in the past year, probably, but for the years before that, there was a section of time where Cena had kind of peaked in his star power, like you said, up until he just started doing acting stuff. And that was the only thing that could elevate him higher, right? Because it was a big peak. We knew anytime you heard his music, the crowd was going to go nuts. You bring Sasha out there, the crowd's going to go nuts. That's a big peak to be at, which is a good thing, to be on a certain level where you're like, well, you're as over as you're going to get. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In some cases, it is a bad thing to be like, hey, dude, you're not getting over. But as over as you get. But with her, she's super over. And to say that unless you have something on the outside that brings a ton of eyes higher on you, then yeah. Because I do think that the Star Wars thing was cool, and it's Bray gotten some visibility on her, but she only had a couple lines in that. What I think is interesting is that she's done a couple meet and greet things as Mercedes, and they said you can't have anything signed Sasha. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I assume they went well, because the other thing is that Sasha Banks fans like Mercedes too.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I thought about getting on. I was like, oh, I have Sasha Banks autograph, but I don't have a Mercedes autograph. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I wonder how long that can go before that starts to die down,
Yeah, for me as a Sasha fan, and look, I root for everyone to do their successful shit that translate in their way. There's so many successful people that I'm just not a fan of, but they make their money, so good for them, right? When it comes to Sasha, I think a Sasha Banks match in WWE or otherwise, wrestling-wise, is can't miss. You have to see how that looks. But most programs that she does, they're not can't miss. You can skip right to the match. So that's why the translation for me is, if she can find a way to pull me in, kind of like when Jericho did the Painmaker in New Japan, right? He reinvents himself into this darker character that you kind of have to see where he's going with this, because we all know what we get out of Chris Jericho, right? But if Sasha can find herself reinventing the build to a match that allows us to invest more, or at least me, then she can raise her level to being completely undeniable in everything she does. But if any match I can find at any point in time, I'd love to watch it.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of a nice freeing moment too, where it's almost like you are at kind of the top of the mountain here. I'm a big fan of Sasha. I'll watch whatever she does in Japan. If she goes to AEW, I'll watch what she's doing there for sure.
Right.
It is kind of freeing to be all like, hey, I'm not getting any bigger at WWE, but I could broaden. You know what I mean? I could be just as big, but showing these fans I care about them too, and showing these fans I care about them too, and broaden my reach. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a freeing thing too, to say like WWE will always be there because it's WWE. But if I'm at this peak right now, maybe now is the time to dip my toe in a few of these other waters and just see how that all plays out,
Well, compare it to Bryan Danielson. right?
Mm-hmm.
How much more invested can anyone be in Bryan Danielson?
Right.
And then he goes to AEW, and how much of his stuff has been can't miss? How much of his stuff is completely investable?
Very little.
Nothing,
Yeah.
right? Like the moments are cool. Like we've talked about endlessly on and offline about the Kenny Omega thing. The Kenny Omega match was a moment. You know, it wasn't the match because the match wasn't that great. If you look at the match if you dim down the crowd, you turn the sound off, and you just look at the match, they don't fucking do anything. They don't do anything the whole match, right? But the moment was special. And having those moments signified. Cool. Yes, exactly. But does it translate into the rest of it? You know, are they going to build to the next one? Excuse me. Are we going to get more character development behind these guys? Are we going to get more awesome in-ring matches? Well, okay, we always get awesome matches from Daniel Bryan. You know, we always get awesome matches from Sasha Banks. What can we see next? What are we going to get more of? So that's why I think, you know, Bryan Danielson, wherever he goes, he's going to have the same amount of eyes on him at all time. Mm-hmm. And we're all going to want something else, you know, bigger and badder and better because he is bigger and badder and better. But we're also used to that from, you know, the WWE side of it. We thought we were capped out on Bryan Danielson or on Daniel Bryan, I should say. And then the build with Roman and Edge, it all got this big old, you know, big boost behind it where it's like, oh shit, like Daniel Bryan coming out of this might be something else. Turns out it was a go away party for him, you know?
Yeah.
So I think Sasha Banks is she's in the same boat. So if you want to look at her anyway outside of WWE, I think Daniel Bryan is the perfect example of, well, what else could come of
wrong?
this?
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah. What else could come of it? You know, at best, are we talking she stays where she is and we just love her because we love her and we don't really get anything? Okay. At worst, does she fuck it up herself? I just don't think she will. So I think it's cool. And hopefully she can do many spots in many locations, but keep it consistent. You know, I think that's the other thing. When wrestlers leave or people leave, we don't get to see them on a consistent basis somewhere else, even in AEW. All the stop-starts that they get in their programs and matches and things like that. If Sasha's going to step in the ring in New Japan, I don't want to see her in Impact 3 months from now. I want to see her in Impact the following week. You know, maybe 2 weeks after. Keep it going. Keep it consistent.
I do think that the Daniel Bryan thing could also be an indication of what could go wrong, but also like maybe some of the troubles with being almost too consistently on TV. Like you have him out there all the time. And I mean, and also his desire, I think, comes down to he just wanted to have matches with certain people that he wasn't able to have matches with. He's just that kind of psychopath about it. And maybe Sasha is too. Maybe she's like, I just want to have matches with these people I can have matches with. I've had matches with everybody in the WWE, but I want to see what these other people are like in the ring. Maybe she's that way. I don't know. Maybe it's like, because I think that's one of the problems with Daniel Bryan and Dax Harwood, if I'm being honest. They're two of the best wrestlers in the world, and neither is almost ever in a program that makes you care about the match they're about to have. And then they go out there and have the best match of the night, and you go, that was a great match, but it was a great match in a bubble. Like, how many matches in a bubble do we want? You know what I mean?
And that's the question. They're building a catalog, but for what? What comes after they build the catalog? Is it just, hey, this was here for you guys? I hope you appreciate it. Oh, cool, thanks. But when we look back on it, like, is that what? I guess that's what we as fans need to do, like temper our own expectations, right? Just feel fortunate we get to see it. Well, then as fans, we have to have that conversation with ourselves. Is this a good match? Yeah, it's a great match. But that's not what I like watching. I don't like watching great matches because nowadays everything's great.
Yeah, right. Did you ever get those DVDs or tapes as a kid that were like special collections hosted by the wrestler and stuff? Like I remember Bret Hart had like an Ultimate one.
No.
See, I used to get those and watch them. And what I thought was so cool was it was like they would sit there. I think most of the time they stayed relatively kayfabe because it was easy to do. But it was like Bret Hart's was talking about different stories that led to the match. You know, this match was important because of this, and this is how we got here, and going boom, boom, boom. And then they would show like the match, and you'd go, oh, okay. And you'd have like this 10 or 15-minute story about how we got to it, and they'd show other clips. If you watch the Rivalry special on WWE, they show highlights of matches, but the majority of these hour-long programs is talking about what got us to the match and why people cared. I just imagine if you were to sit some people down with their catalog of matches and say like, hey, what got you here? We just booked it that week.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like so many of these matches that could otherwise have been classics if people invested and cared about the story that got there.
Well, I'll tell you, I was watching the end of Raw, and it goes off TV with KO in the ring and Seth on the outside. And I thought to myself, if one of them grabbed the microphone, or let's say Seth Rollins grabs a microphone and goes, hey, KO, we're in my hometown. You want to go for 20 minutes and see what happens? And he goes, hell yeah. Everyone in the stands would get to watch the two of them just wrestle for 20 minutes. How awesome would that be?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's basically what you're talking about. It's like, what was this? There is no story. It's like, hey, we're performers, we're artists, we're wrestlers. Let's see who can out wrestle each other. Let's see how we can get the crowd to dance with us. And that's also a great thing, but it's at its best when it's part of a story.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But I am excited for Sasha to see what she does. It's going to be dope. But I think that she may benefit from specifically popping up for ones and twosies in a few places before coming back.
I think so too. And honestly, keeping it the way it is, and I fucking hate it, but the internet's buzzing. They don't know what's going to happen, and they're all trying to predict what's going to happen. But we don't know what's going to happen. She's just showing up. We know she's showing up. We don't know why. She might just sit in the stands. You know?
It's true. Yeah, I think that I've talked about it a few times. I think the first one you do have her just kind of sit in the stands and start a thing with Kari Sane after her match, and then get her in a match for the second one. But yeah.
But they're 2.5 weeks away from Wrestle Kingdom, so I'd imagine, and supposedly she's going over there this week. So if she's going over there this week, you would imagine they would have at least 2 weeks to figure something out. If she's working with someone she's not familiar with, or what have you, to at least get familiar with something. I mean, it'll all be cool. But
I think it's going to be dope. I'm excited. To see what she does. Let's see. Well, let's talk some of the shows. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man.
Smackdown. What's Smackdown open with? It opened with the tag match. Wait, there was something before it though, right? Did Roman come out on top of the SmackDown?
Honestly, I don't know. I just took notes on the things that I thought we would talk about, and I didn't take any notes on the Bloodline. Although I know that they, of course, were part of it. It probably did. I don't know.
So. 2 weeks.
I did my notes a little bit differently this time.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? So it did start the first match of the night. was the tag match. Liv Morgan and Tegan Nox against Damage Control for the Women's Championship. I was super annoyed a lot of this match with, Liv and Tegan being thrown together. Even the promo last week, you said you've beaten everyone, but you haven't beat us. Well, you don't exist yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not only did you not exist when we said that, you don't exist now. You will not exist until you're in a ring in a tag match.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's so fucking weird, dude. So they're out there, they're kicking the shit out of Io and Dakota. And look, I don't think that Damage Control has been a failure like some people are saying. I do think their booking is very confusing. You know what I mean? Like, are they a strong tag team or are they not? Are they weasels who cheat to win? Or are they good guys who will out wrestle you every time?
Right.
I can't figure out what they're doing. And I don't think this is one of those, they're a tweener thing. I think it's just messy booking because they're trying to put over other people around them, which I've also said about the tag championships before. It is the mid-card title, and you are working on 4 characters at once in any given program. This one also happens to have Bayley in the program. So now you're effectively utilizing someone already made to build others around her, right?
Right.
It's just so fucking confusing. And this one needed interference to win. And that interference was probably the coolest part. Io and Dakota got the win, which was good because I thought, well, thank God, because I thought there was a part of me that was like, they're going to just put it on Tegan and Liv for no reason. But they had somebody off to the side in like a hood and black pants and leopard shoes. Who'd they kick in the head? Was it Tegan?
Was it?
she kick Tegan? Or I think
Tegan was on the outside. Yeah. Tegan was on the outside.
So she kicks Tegan in the head, and then that sets up for the whole finish, and then Dakota Kai and Io get the win. They drag out the woman in the back. They say later on commentary that it turns out to be Xia Li, and if you go to their website, their YouTube and stuff, they actually have her being, revealed, which is good.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and this was a good note too. At the very beginning, because it was Brody Lee's birthday, Michael Cole opened the show with "It's Friday, you know what that means."
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was great. It was really nice. And I was really happy to see nobody on my timeline at least got petty about it. People were just happy about it. You know what I mean? Because I could absolutely see people being like, "Oh, what are they doing? It's AEW's thing." And you're like, "And it's a Brody thing, and everyone does it every time for Brody's sake. No one's
right."
And yes, it's an AEW catchphrase, but it was really nice to see that, And it was really nice to see nobody get petty about it. Everyone was just happy to hear it, and I was like, "I love it."
Yeah, it's great.
What do you think about Xia Li kicking Tegan in the head?
Well, I love Xia Li, period. And the fact that she's getting the introduction to damage control is great as long as she's utilized within damage control to help strengthen damage control. Because we've been talking about it, I believe, on episode 1, and if not, the episode 1 before that, and even maybe some other episode 1s. But damage control needs some consistency in looking like a force.
Yes.
And if you're going to add another member for them to continue to look like shit, then it's pointless. But I love the fact that they added a new member. Before I found out it was Xia Li, I was like, this is still cool because a smart leader in Bayley would add the piece that they're missing.
Yeah.
To stop looking like shit. So story-wise, it makes sense. But we've seen Bayley. Has Bayley mentioned it at all? Is Bayley going to let us know why this is happening? Is Bayley going to inform us that this member exists for a reason? Or is it not a member at all going rogue? Then to your point, what beef does Xia Li have with anyone?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my big takeaway from it too, was if this is leading her to be a part of damage control, then that's pretty cool. Although I think Xia Li talks better than she's given credit for.
Yes.
She is not fluid on the mic. You know what I mean? Because even Io and Asuka, when they speak as well, you kind of have to pause and pay attention for a second because they're going to work through their words and it's fine.
But Xia is not as broken. She's not as broken, not compared to them, just as people think. Her English isn't as broken as a lot of people may think. I think she's decent for sure.
Yeah, she definitely speaks more more fluidly, but she does pronounce in a way where you're focusing. You know what I mean?
I think it's very similar to Andrade.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's clear. You might get lost in the story they're telling, but you know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah. But with that in mind, you could easily put her with a Bayley who can do a lot of the heavy lifty talking and give her just the few lines they need her to have, and that'd be fine. Yeah. But to your point, by the time Raw came around, we see damage control and no mention of Xia Li on commentary, no mention by Bayley, no mention by anybody, which leads me to believe this is likely a thing with Xia Li and Tegan Nox.
Right.
I don't understand why she'd have a beef with Tegan or Liv. I do like that you have a more vicious Xia Li. I think that's perfect. Make her a badass. But also, I don't see them having Nox take a loss here. They seem to be so heavy behind Nox and Liv that it looks like we have Xia Li as this kind of jobber in the background that we put in whenever we want someone to take a powerful loss.
So I happened to miss my performance on episode 1 last week, but I did listen to episode 1 last week. And I heard you guys talking about the reintroduction of characters that are sitting in Triple H's brain as opposed to what's actually on TV. Yeah. And I immediately thought of the Toni Storm vignette when she was coming into NXT proper. How they had her sitting down, talking in the chair, running on the beach, showing the workouts, kind of giving us a glimpse into who Toni Storm is.
Yeah.
Have we had one fucking vignette of a debut? Have we had one introduction of a character who didn't show up on accident? Johnny, Candace, Tegan. Like, we're not getting told these people's stories at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. And here's the thing, it's the same person. The Triple H that was in charge of NXT had some of the best vignettes that we had leading to matches, introducing characters, and we're not getting that on this level. And
remember
I
the
think
Boa
that's
and
the biggest
Xia Li
mistake.
vignette we had?
Yes. That
Fucking
whole
intense.
Yeah, when because that's when Borash got hired, right? So that was a Borash Triple H production, and to get them, that whole Mei Ying thing was fucking amazing. The way they were getting beat down and worked back up into fucking assassins through the spirit of Tian Sha, like hell yeah, it was awesome.
Intense. It was intense, and I could also understand how the Mei Ying thing got a little too mystical that you could have pulled back on. You still could have shown Xia Li training and stuff, and you still could have because even when Xia Li came to the main roster, she had all those comic book ones with the story with the background and the protector and all that, and I dug that too. Like, I like Xia Li so much. I'm so excited she's doing something, but I'm at this point really nervous that she's here to take a loss to Nox and then disappear again for a bit. She only shows up in matches where they just need someone to eat a loss, and I don't get it, and I don't like it because she's a badass.
But I also like we know who Nox is, but to your point, you've listed so much that they left out that I want them to tell us who she is. I want them to give us a video package of when she tore both ACLs against Rhea Ripley, at which they showed that clip, but it wasn't this massive video package that showed her story of Dakota Kai turning on her. And the clip of her getting turned on by Dakota Kai has been used for Dakota, not for Tegan. Like, what are we doing to tell the story of who she is and why, because even Alexa said it on Monday. Bray was there for me, and then he was just gone. Like, no, there's more to these stories that they can tell about everyone. So fucking tell them.
Yeah.
What's a 12-second video clip of what Tegan's been doing to rehab? Like, I don't know. Because they're going to do it with Xia too, and if Xia shows up without some training video package, then she's not a badass. Like you said, she's just another, quote, jobber to be a famous name instead of, guy from Kentucky or gal from Louisiana,
Dude, when I first revealed it was Xia Li, I was like, fuck yes. She's in something and she's intense. Perfect.
Agreed.
And the more I sat and thought about it, I was all like, I hope this is the beginning of something and not a transition for someone else again. Because every time we get her, she comes out and looks like a badass and then doesn't get the job done. So,
real quick, I actually liked the match. I thought it was a good match. You were kind of sour on it, but I thought it was pretty good.
I was sour on the reasoning behind it, but you're right. They all worked really well together.
Yeah, I thought it was the best we've seen out of Io and Dakota in a long time. And
that's true.
And the fact that Liv and Nox didn't look like shit too is great. So
yeah. Especially because we haven't seen Nox wrestle since she left.
Right.
She never popped up anywhere else.
Right.
Which I also wonder about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, as fans, we get so invested in these people that we think their dreams are our dreams. And they tell us their dream is our dream, right? We're living vicariously through them in a lot of ways, but when they get released from one of these companies, typically WWE, I won't pretend that there's a ton happening other places, but there are, and then they don't show up anywhere. It just makes me wonder, is it really something they actually loved and wanted to do, or was it something they were driven to do, and then with the first real adversary was like, fuck it. What's the point? You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't feel like a dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Leo Rush is a great example of that. I mean, he ping-pongs back and forth from all companies, seemingly as a means to make enough money to do other things, which is, I mean, again, good on him. Use your talents for whatever many jobs you can get to make as much money as you can. We just can't, as fans, invest ourselves into dreams that aren't theirs. That whole line about addicts and things like that. Like, you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. Like, so you can't dream for these guys that don't want that dream. You can't force them to want to be world champion if they just don't fucking want it. Like, when people say, "Oh, AJ should have a belt. Why has he been underutilized?" No, he's fucking 46 and he gets to wrestle Like, he's in heaven right now. AJ doesn't care. You know,
Yeah, he even said at some point that he didn't want the title anymore.
And he just tweeted the other day
Yeah.
to somebody saying some shit. He's like, it's not my job to know who I'm wrestling at WrestleMania 39. It's my job to be prepared for what they give me for WrestleMania 39. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't care. He just wants to wrestle. He works for the company.
Yeah. No, yeah, and he I'm sure he pitches the ideas when he has them and works with the ideas when they give him, you know, but
Yeah.
and even when he lost the title after he first was there, like you said, people are like, "Oh, why hasn't he had the title again since then?" And he told them he didn't want it.
Yeah.
He wanted to spend more time at home. And when he was the champion, they needed him on the road doing a ton of media appearances and stuff. And so after a year of it, he was all like, you know, appreciate it, love it, thank you. Maybe down the line, but I don't want this title anymore. You know, Eddie Guerrero, he never won it again because he didn't want it.
Right.
As a champion, he said it was too much for him to handle. He didn't want it anymore. Like, that stuff happens, man. Like, not everyone who doesn't have a title is being screwed over.
I fucking love all the AEW throaters who, you know, want to keep bringing up the fact that Chris Jericho has had all these accolades and shit. The only reason why he was the first ever unified champion is because Stone Cold and The Rock were both like, nah, man, we don't need it. Like, they wanted to put the unified champion of WCW and WWF on Stone Cold. And he's like, nah, man, I don't need it. And The Rock's like, nah, man, I don't need it. Let's give it to Chris. Okay. And like,
and they thought, ooh, what a swerve. No one will see that coming. Good idea.
Right. But like, you know, to the same point of AJ not wanting it, there's so many people who don't need it, you know, and so I don't know. I don't even know how we got there, but
well, I mean, we just haven't seen Tegan since she left, and I wonder about stuff like that. Is it like,
oh yeah, their dreams and stuff, what they want, because she didn't wrestle anywhere else,
yeah. Was it really that she didn't want it? I mean, like Mia Yim said that, you know, she was really depressed when she lost the job and didn't know if she wanted to wrestle ever again and stuff, and I could see that. Obviously, that's a lot to deal with. But I just always find it a little bit weird when time goes on and on and on and they don't pick their head back up. You know what I mean? Especially when you're with people who are also in the business and you're still seeing the business all around you. Like,
it
seems a little weird, you know, to me. I mean, also look at like AOP. I saw someone tweet the other day again. I can't believe that WWE dropped the bag on AOP. How'd they mess that up so bad? I don't think they did. They put them front and center in a lot of things, and then eventually they got released because they weren't producing much, and then they've done nothing
weren't healthy
since.
either. When they were put with Seth as the bodyguards or whatever, that was gonna go. That looked amazing.
Yeah.
And one of them got injured. And so they took both off instead of having one there. And it just never when they got to the main roster, number one, not having Paul Ellering didn't help because him as the mouthpiece in NXT was fucking amazing. And the dudes can wrestle. They're really good. So I agree with that concept that they dropped the ball because they're just saying that because that's how good AOP was. But no, they couldn't stay healthy in the main roster. If they were healthy on the main roster, they'd still be there today, in my opinion.
And they haven't done anything since, which makes me wonder, were they really all that passionate to begin with? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. I think that as fans, we force a lot of what we believe that they believe onto them. And maybe it is more of a job than you think, you know? But I don't know. And not that it's not like the most fun job or the coolest or, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's a lot of upside. It's not like they're clocking at a job they hate, but some of them do for a period of time. There are people who've talked about, there was days that they were just clocking in and clocking out and they hated it. And I don't know, man. I just think that there's a whole other human aspect to this that I think that we as fans ignore. And it just makes me wonder about stuff like that when I see someone come back after we haven't seen him in a long time. Let's see. But we do go on to LA Knight calling out Bray Wyatt. LA Knight cut a badass promo where he impersonated Bray. Sounded great.
Amazing.
He did a whole bunch of yeahs, this crazy. Yeah. Someone someone remixed it to the Usher song.
That's awesome.
Usher and Little John. It was so good. But Bray comes out and they have a bit of I would say a fight, but really Bray just let him beat him up. Bray didn't really fight back. And then a bunch of weird stuff happens, and now you get Howdy Boy comes out, stands there. This is starting to get a bit much. Here's the problem with Boy Howdy.
It was executed poorly.
The face looks like it's not meant to be a mask, but is clearly a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's made his head 2 inches thicker than a normal head would be. Because they've put this entire... Like, I mean, Miss Doubtfire looked more like a face than this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to do it. Even like... Because Miss Doubtfire, I think... Was it just bits of prosthetic or was it a big overhead one? Because they make those real thin.
I think it was a big overhead thing, and then he had to put the wig on.
Yeah, and then they did like the eyes and the mouth to basically bring it down. Now there's every possibility that maybe that doesn't lend well to matches, and maybe that's their concern. They need something that'll stay in place during a match. But it looks so phony and weird that I think it actually takes you out of it, and I think it's less creepy and more, like you said, feels like poorly executed. And then having him laugh over the speaker, and then having him like a mascot trying to overexert motion so you can tell that that's him laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a fucking Bray Wyatt mascot out there, and it was weird, man.
It was one of those moments, like, remember all the way back in the 90s, I believe, I can't remember. It might have been, I don't know, it was Shawn Michaels and someone else. And Shawn Michaels is talking shit on the Jumbotron, and it turns out he was in gear in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew my fucking mind as a kid. How could this guy be in 2 places at once? But then, of course, I got a little bit older, and I realized it's the choreography of the person answering back. It might have been Triple H. I can't remember. But whoever was answering him back in the ring was making sure to hit every cue to make you believe that that guy on the screen is where Shawn Michaels is.
Yeah.
And that performance aspect is so important to get us as fans to believe.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here, is that they didn't execute the believability of it, because every bit of me wants to not guess anything about the Bray Wyatt stuff. But when I saw the missing of the laughter, I go, okay, it's just a stand-in. It means nothing.
Dude, and I still believe that Boy Howdy is Tony Clifton, in that multiple people will be playing him at different times depending on what they need from who. Right? Like, I think
Here's the thing, though. Because we have no essence of who Uncle Howdy is, we don't know who he's playing. He's just a thing. Like, there's this, because we're suspending disbelief and we're filling in gaps, that Uncle Howdy is the curator of whatever Bray is doing. But he's not necessarily saying anything. Even Bray said it, like, we say the same words or some shit like that. So it's not as if, it's almost as if they're like kind of side by side, but is he leading Bray to another direction, or is it a Bray alter ego? But we don't really know. And to see them as 2 separate things, but this fucked up, like, at least the Fiend was the embodiment of the fucked up conscience that Bray had, right? What is Uncle Howdy, Boy Howdy? What the fuck is he? We don't know what he is. There's no defined property. So it was just you know what? That should have just been Huskus. That's what happened. It was the same thing as the thing sitting in a stance. It's just there.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean.
It threw me out so much.
In a non-kayfabe sense, I'm saying that multiple people will play him.
But that feels like so far away, because we don't know what he's playing besides the character. But what is the character is what I'm saying. Like,
but that's not what I'm saying at all. This has nothing to do with.
You're saying multiple people are going to dress up as him.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But whatever
that is, as Boy Howdy with that mask, I'm saying regardless of what the story does and where the character is going and moving and who's voicing it, I'm saying that it's becoming pretty apparent to me that you're going to have multiple people inside of that suit at different times depending on what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Well, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's what I have a problem with.
But I'm saying, like, but when you're watching it and all you can think is, oh, they're going to have different people stand in, it removes even the the concept of what are they trying to do. Like, it's being executed so poorly at this point.
Right.
That not only is it seemingly at a standstill of direction, LA Knight's doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's doing all the work.
Yeah, but now you have a mascot that's going to be... You're going to have multiple people dressed up in there to try to add to the illusion and the confusion for a character that's not really well fleshed out.
They should have just left him on the Jumbotron. That's how poorly it was on Friday. They should have just left it on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, left him on the Jumbotron would have been fine, but I know that they're trying to get it like both of them in the same shot. So you'd be like, oh my God, it's not Bray. See? And you're like, well...
So when he comes out and he's standing there, my first thought is that it was Big E, right? I go, it's a little guy. He's not that big. Then I thought maybe it was Jonah, but I didn't want a fantasy book Bronson Reed coming back. Mm-hmm. Imagine that, right? But it would have been a terrible fantasy book for a Friday night.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe it's Otis. Just because of how the guy's shaped. But the guy's arms were so fucking small. I'm like, Bray's a big dude. This didn't even look like Bray in the suit. It just looked like some guy in the back wearing a fucking suit. Yeah.
That's my point. There was no point during it where I was trying to figure out who's in the suit. I just went, okay, this is clearly a suit that they're going to have different people in. So it's going to be like, oh, look at his arms are longer, his arms are shorter. None of that's going to fucking matter.
Okay. So here I think my problem is then the way they've presented Uncle Howdy Boy. Yeah. The way they've presented him up until they showed him is that he's larger than life. That he is an entity that has some type of reach, some type of control. And the fact that was his mystique and it's actualized into this fucking little tiny toy soldier that showed up, it completely threw me out. And then, of course, the laughing execution. It was so bad. So bad. Now, if that's part of the gimmick and somewhere down the line, it's going to click that it is that bad because it is a Bray thing and he's just fucking with everyone, okay. But to your point, LA Knight's doing all the heavy lifting to where it's not connecting.
Yeah. Yeah, because LA Knight had to be spooked and had to be like, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm out of here. And you're like, why are you spooked, dude? Because it's just a rubber dude. It's just rubber. Like it looks like rubber. It's weird. You just ran away from a tire.
To your point earlier about the Mei Ying stuff, right? All that Tian Sha. What happened when somebody ran up the ramp towards Mei Ying? Boom. Ghost powers,
Yeah.
Presence, entity. Like it was all, so that because I was like, well, why doesn't LA Knight just get out the ring and go towards fucking this 5 foot tall fucking, keg of a guy? The guy's not imposing. He's just standing in fog wearing a trench coat and a hat, like with a mask too fucking big. Just go beat his ass, And
I think, to be honest, the mask that was way too big for his head made him look wider, and I think the shot that they put him in made him look shorter because they had him right there with all the fans closer to the camera because they were trying to shoot him from far away. So he could have been 6'5", but because of where he's standing with a giant background behind him and a bunch of fans closer to the camera, he's looking progressively smaller. So now he's just this little thing in the background. And you go, I don't know, man. It's just, I've been so excited about the Bray stuff. And I think that Bray with a little bit of direction can go really far. But I think that the prosthetics for this mask has killed the thing by trying to make you believe in it. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. And we're running into 2 holiday shows where are they going to be able to add more story to what's happening to help recover from this? Or is this going to be the bad taste in our mouth until the second week in January?
Right? Because I know that next Raw is going to be a best of. And was it typically for New Year's they've done that too? They did it with Smackdown last year where they had it hosted by Becky. But this Smackdown for the 30th. Yeah, but then this Smackdown is the 30th, and that's when they're going to do John Cena. So I think that's why the Raw is going to be the best of.
Gotcha.
They're going to do a regular
Smackdown the 23rd. Do you think they'll do a pre-tape for the 23rd? And then because the 30th is next week, and that's the one where you said John Cena, of course. We'll talk about that, but
they better not.
Did if this week is a... What's that?
Have they announced any matches for next week?
Well, next week is the 30th with John Cena and Roman. So you would imagine there's a full show for the 30th. But for the 23rd, I'm wondering if they're going to do maybe they're filming that Thursday. No, the 23rd is Friday for SmackDown.
Yeah. Nope.
The John Cena match is on the 30th for SmackDown. So my assumption for Bray was that we were going to have a pre-tape or some type of holiday show this Friday, and we wouldn't get something to help with the story. And I thought that for the 30th as well, but I forgot about the Cena match.
Yeah,
so that's going to be live.
I think they would do a pre-tape because they would have had to tape it already, because I don't think they're going to tape the December 30th show a week beforehand and just hope that everyone keeps their hand, sits on their hands for a week. Anybody who's in the audience, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm sure that'll be live though. Well, that's because that's in Tampa or some shit. So they're doing it close to their facilities anyway.
Yeah, but I don't imagine they're going to do a pre-taped SmackDown all of a sudden before then. I don't think you would do 2 back-to-back best of episodes. Like last year was a SmackDown, it wasn't a Raw. The fact that it's going to be 3-hour Raw that's a best of is crazy. But
whoa,
I don't know.
I typed in SmackDown tickets and they're showing it for the 30th, but not the 23rd.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see. SmackDown 12/23.
Do you think they pre-taped, or do you think they taped a SmackDown the same night as this one? Because I could see that, where they taped the next SmackDown here. Because I think every other SmackDown's been taped.
Has it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. People have been pretty good without leaking too much. It's been great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited about LA Knight. And like you said, I really want to see this go somewhere. But it doesn't even feel like Bray is having a hard time defeating.
Here you go. Yeah, Yahoo has it. SmackDown spoilers for 12/23 taped on 12/16. So they taped this Friday SmackDown last Friday. So there you go.
Huh.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to see this go somewhere. I don't even think, because I've seen some people talk about how, like, why is Bray Wyatt having such a hard time getting through LA Knight? But it doesn't look like he's trying to get through LA Knight. I can't figure out what his problem is with LA Knight. I can't figure out if he wants to fight him. I can't feel like if he wants to negotiate with him. Like, I still don't get a sense of what we're doing. And all I get from LA Knight is,
stop fucking with me.
Stop fucking with me. Stop fucking with me. I'm not afraid of you. Like, if you want me to cower, that's not going to happen. Let's just fight. And Bray's like, I don't want to fight. And it's like, well, this is a fighting show. What do you want me to do? Like, it seems really weird. Can you imagine they get to this point where they have LA Knight, Don, Boy Howdy, and just be Boy Howdy for a while, and we don't even get LA Knight for a while? He's so
Let me tell you something, brother. Yeah.
Starts coming out with a fucking tank top, and like almost like a fucking pumpkin head.
Right. Right.
I don't know, man.
If he does the Bray Wyatt impression but incorporates the that'd be amazing. Let me talk to you. His Bray was so phenomenal. I loved it.
Oh yeah. Dude, everything LA Knight's doing here is amazing, and it's crazy because the Bray stuff suddenly is getting all muddled.
Weird.
And you're like, how's this happening?
Yeah.
I just hope that we have a better version of both on the other side of this. We did get Intercontinental Championship match, Ricochet versus Gunther. Man, these dudes need to learn how to wrestle. The fuck was this?
You just imagine if they had a little bit more time at the PC.
Yeah, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Somehow my notes are gone for this. I took massive notes on this because it was fucking incredible.
It's nuts.
It was so good. And I want to give you credit for this because you've been saying it for close to 2 years now. Ever since Walter defeated Ciampa in NXT. Gunther's style of wrestling isn't to try to get you into his finisher. His style of wrestling is to try to beat you until you can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
That's what he does. So when he beat Ciampa with the clothesline and people were disappointed, myself included, that little nuance in the story of who Walter / Gunther is he's so powerful, so good. What he's going to do is prevent you from wrestling by beating you down the entire way. It's masterful because he almost did that to Ricochet, right? He gets right to the point where with the clothesline, he's got him. or with the power bomb. He's got him. Ricochet keeps fighting. Fuck it. Now I have to use my finisher. Yeah. I thought it was awesome. It was incredibly well laid out too. So well laid out.
Yep. It was
when Ricochet finally got his moment on top, you really went for the ride. And Gunther's doing a great job because sometimes he has a hard time selling. Like he'll get to the ground too quick or whatever. But I think at his size now, the way he's working with other talent, he's doing an even better job at selling. So I really enjoyed it, man. It's up there. It's up there for matches that I've seen this year.
Dude, oh yeah, this was incredible for that. And then if you noticed at the end, like I had said before, when we were talking about the old World Cup challenge, I said, sounds to me like they're going to do a 2-for-1 here. Get Braun versus Ricochet, have Imperium cost Braun. So as soon as he gets through Ricochet, Braun will show up, and now we have the program with Braun. It's exactly what happened here. At the end of it, Braun comes out, and I was all like, 2-for-1, yeah.
Didn't Ricochet do like a moonsault or some shit, but get caught with a clothesline?
Yeah, he's insane.
Yeah,
he got chopped out of the air.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, he was flying at him like I think crossbody, and he just whoosh, and just goes back the other way. It was insane. Every single thing in this match was just landed so perfectly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Adam Pearce goes to Roman's locker room. Paul Heyman. Oh, this is where they say like, hey, they got a problem with Sami Zayn because it opened up with Bloodline, and Sami said, Kevin Owens' only friend is me, and then he goes like, I misspoke. It's not what I meant. It's not what I meant.
Oh yeah.
And then Roman's got this like, okay, how do we do this? How do we navigate this? Like, and it was or was that at the end where he says it? I don't fucking know, man. But now his whole thing is we want Kevin Owens in a tag match, anyone he wants, me and Sammy against Kevin Owens and anybody he wants, because he wants to make Sammy prove, that he's not
loyalty,
Kevin's friend. Yeah. And then he says they'll get the match, and then they'll review it later. Let's see, triple threat tag match: Hit Row, Viking Raiders, and Legado del Fantasma. Look, it's tough to have a 3-way match with 3 people. This was a 3-way match with 6 people, but also had 4 people on the outside. So it was a 3-way match with 10 people.
Right.
If that doesn't sound messy, just know it was messier than that.
And understand the phrase when Vince McMahon used to say, I'm not a fan of tag teams. Because he has to pay so many people has to pay 4 times or 4 people instead of 2 people for one match.
Yeah.
And now Triple H is paying 10 people for one match because they're all on TV.
Yeah.
And it also clogs everything up. But what does it lead to, right? Every time it leads to the dive over the top to knock everybody over.
Yeah, they did that like 3 times here.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. Everyone got a chance to dive over the top and knock over everybody.
Well, kind of dive over the top.
And then on Top Dollar didn't make it over the top, but he still got out there.
Yeah.
Dude, he fucking ass over tea kettle so hard, and then gets up and looks over at the crowd like, yeah, and B-Fab's like, oh, and also like everyone else is gasping because they don't know what the fuck you're trying to like.
He said his knee gave out, which I could understand. I mean, I felt bad for him.
He gave out in the finish. And
not on the. I thought it was a jump over the. I thought it was a jump over the rope where his knee gave out because he didn't.
His knee got hit. His knee hit, but when you're watching later on, he's just in there doing it, and he's kind of like stretching it. But at the very end, he goes to lift up the dude in that 2-man move.
Oh yeah.
And all of a sudden, you see him like you see his eyes like go fucking and then you see him like power over to a certain spot, do the move, and then just roll over like my fucking knee. But Hit Row somehow won. I mean, think about this. The Viking Raiders and Legado del Fantasma lost to Hit Row. Hit Row has a combined wrestling age of 2 years. Like, all of them were rookies when they walked in except for Adonis. The rest of them have all been wrestling for 15, 16 years.
Right.
And it shows in everything that they all do.
Right.
And somehow Hit Row's the one to come out on top on this one. The Viking Raiders, I thought, were supposed to be so vicious, they're just destroying everybody.
That's the problem, right? Is that they're the only one that's established some type of dominance. Like Legado and Hit Row have been doing awesome entertainment. The Legado vignettes with Zelina are fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm.
They're produced so well. They're acted even better. And Hit Row coming to the ring is perfect. They do it really well. It's not always my thing because I do think they overdo it. What's up, buddy? What's up? Sorry, puppy's in the way. I think they overdo some things, but they are entertaining. As wrestlers, though, like the vignettes for the Viking Raiders get you fired up to watch them kick someone's ass.
Yep.
And they don't.
Then they don't. I mean, Legado shows up, and the first thing they do is beat the shit out of Hit Row and put the whole locker room on notice and says, be safe, and fucking winks. And then they've fucked with nobody else since. Like,
right.
I don't know, man. This is a crowded program to not be establishing anybody.
Right.
You have like 3 teams who are kind of reestablishing their footing, and nobody's coming out looking good here, and it's just a mess. And I don't get it because everyone in this is dope. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, they've all had their moments where you really, really wanted them to succeed. I mean, LDF got so big in NXT that, I mean, we as I know me and you, we wanted them as the Undisputed Era types where, fuck, man, give Santos the title. Have LDF have the tag titles. Let's make them something because they grew from the Breezango era. Like we remember that, right? It was Breezango and Swerve that were fighting the 3 of them during the pandemic era. Like that's how Legado built. That's how that started. Like that's how long. That's pre Hit Row, and that's why they're so good together. And Hit Row could easily, when they came up on the main roster, to my surprise, they got even bigger than they were in NXT.
Yeah.
And the Viking Raiders from day one, all their NXT shit was fucking amazing. And their first run in WWE leading up to the pandemic era, they were great. So yeah, it's a little confusing. It's a little confusing.
Yeah. Although Top Dollar lost a lot of weight, and they pointed out on commentary, and I thought that was cool too.
Yeah, he looks good. Yeah.
I want to see him put on some size up top because he does look like a dude who just lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, some shoulders.
Yeah, I think if you're still gonna bill him as powerful, he can't just be a tall dude. So, but yeah, that's a huge step, cutting down like that. I think it's dope. Let's see. Raquel Rodriguez got a promo about wanting to join the gauntlet match, and she gets jumped again by Ronda and Shayna. I just wish that I had something more for Raquel for me to get behind, but I think the gauntlet match will be cool. And then we get the end of it. So Bloodline comes out. Roman and everybody's cutting their promo, and it gets interrupted by John Cena in front of a random brick wall. When I saw the wall, I was like, is he at the Comedy Store? Like, what is he doing?
Right.
But it was dope. It was dope. We're going to get Cena and Kevin Owens not next week, but week after. I like that the whole story here is that Kevin Owens texted Cena to say, hey, you haven't wrestled in 2022. This is the first year ever in WWE that you won't have wrestled in. There's still a Smackdown left. You could make that happen, and I need a partner. And John Cena's like, that's a good point.
Eggplant emoji.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he kept reading the mermaid, bald eagle, peace emoji. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It also was a little goofy, but I'm super into it. I love it.
Well, that's the thing. Cena, what I noticed about him coming back, period, is he doesn't he has too much fun when he comes back. He doesn't stay in a lane for the purpose of the story. He has too much fun doing it. And I mean, good on him. He's earned it, right?
Yeah.
So we as fans have to kind of pick and choose what we want from where and not have everyone fit into what we want. I mean, I want Cena back to fucking stick his chest out and do the greatest of all time gimmick, right? And he hasn't done that yet. He comes back and he allows other people to look amazing. Yeah. But if he comes back and does the greatest of all time gimmick at a run to Roman to get his Flair breaking number, and he does it with grit and strength and all that shit, that'd be fucking amazing. But no, he comes back as the guy who acts and loves wrestling. Like, he's just and has so much fun. Like, and good on him, because it is enjoyable. I mean, it does make you smile. It does make you laugh, and you look forward to seeing him wrestle. So,
yeah, I'm super stoked to see that. But yeah, it's you do watch it and you go, oh, John Cena's come back to play this role again.
right. We get to watch John Cena at recess.
Yeah, it's neat. Oh, you got some time away. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be cool. I'm into it, but there was definitely a goofiness there. That I was all like, Roman's all serious and pissed, and Cena's all yee-hoo.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I mean, that means that the main event for SmackDown, for anybody who's there, is getting Cena, Roman, KO, and Sammy in a single match.
Right. Hopefully it starts at the 9:00 hour, right?
I know. I don't even know if it's going to be fair for us to do the boozies this year at all. Like, if that's the last night of the year, like, what if that match is match of the year?
Right.
We fucking blew it. We're probably doing our boozies on the 28th, which makes it even worse. Should I just make that match of the year just preemptively?
It might work. Unless you want to go live at 10:01 Eastern on Friday for the boozies.
Yeah, right. All right.
Well, it probably won't be match of the year though.
I'm probably gonna make it my match of the year.
It'll be a This Is Awesome of the year.
That's true. That's true. That's on the list. You got your list, right?
No, you didn't send me one. Am I invited to the boozies this year?
I sent an email to you and Amanda.
No.
I don't even know if I did the
your StreamYard email. I had to mark as accepted as opposed to spam.
Yeah, it's been happening a lot lately. I don't know. If you didn't get it, I'll send it to you again because I may have sent it wrong. But I think it's going to be you, me, and Digi. I think Digi wants to do the awards, and I thought, hey, why not?
Okay.
Maybe we'll see if we can get the In Time Bros to pop their head in for a couple. We'll see. Maybe make a party.
In Time moment of the year, they can announce it.
Oh yeah, and then they can they'll say something from '96. And watching all that older stuff lately. Let's see. Raw, dude. I heard back and forth from people. This was the greatest Raw in a really long time, which I've been hearing every week, which I think is kind of nice. But I've also heard from people this is one of the worst Raws they've seen in a long time. Like, I'm somewhere in the middle where I felt like there was, to me, like the lows were low, but the highs were very high. This was pretty bipolar.
Yeah. I didn't watch it live because I was watching the Packers-Rams game, but when I watched it the next day and finished it today, I found myself staying invested as opposed to really, like, loving it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a cool Raw. And then, like you said, there's like a little bit of a low. And then it comes, oh, shit, this is fucking cool, too. And then by the end of the night, you're like, holy shit, Seth Rollins was in like 4 segments.
Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of what tied it all together.
Yeah. In the chat, Jay Brizzle says, Cena gets injured, gets replaced by Ric Flair. Is it still match of the year? Not even close, dude. It becomes an embarrassment of the year. Which, by the way, didn't Ric Flair wrestle this year?
Yeah.
Dude, in this year, we had Ric Flair, Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, Cena, all in matches. There's a fucking lot that happened this year. We had the return of Becky. Oh, wait, no, she came back. Yeah, she's come back like twice. She keeps getting injured, coming back. Return of the Man, though, I should say. But, like, yeah, not even close, dude. And anybody who tries to even pose the argument that Cena coming back is anything like Ric Flair coming back in the same day and age. Yeah, I mean, you're shaking your head like it's not worth even trying to argue with them. That's not an argument. They're in different levels in their current. For one, they're 40 years different.
Right.
But yeah, no, Flair wrestling is an embarrassment to everybody who involved and remains so. Dude, I even listened to a bunch of the podcasts that were trying to talk and put it over after the fact, and it was embarrassing, and I had to turn them off. And everyone who was trying so hard to get it over after the fact. Embarrassing. He says, okay, Tajiri then. Oh, maybe. Oh, it could be good.
Tajiri can still go.
Or Great Muta. You put Muta in the match, still match of the year. No doubt. So Raw opened up with Roman and Paul Heyman. And they were putting the Raw locker room on notice because Cena is not going to be enough for KO to win, and he's going to need the whole damn locker room. So they decide that the Bloodline will go around and just beat the shit out of everybody all night.
But they're wrestling on SmackDown. So why would you beat up everybody on Raw?
Well, Kevin Owens doesn't have friends on SmackDown. He has friends on Raw. So he doesn't want anybody from Raw coming over.
Okay. Well, that's right, because SmackDown already falls in line. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, so just beat the shit out of Raw. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Storytelling at its finest.
Yep. There it is. Which was funny. I do think it's funny the first person they're beating the shit out of is Mustafa Ali.
Yeah. Guy can't catch a break, man.
Cannot catch a break. They immediately cut over. It's like, oh, what's going on over here? It's like, oh, just like three people punching Ali in the face while someone's holding him back. Poor dude's being used as I mean, what was it? Theory? Didn't he throw Ali into Bobby Lashley once and Bobby Lashley while backstage? I hope Ali is constantly pitching ideas for him to just be getting punked out in the back. Like in the matches, I'll be good and competitive, but how about every time I'm seen in the back, I'm just getting punked the fuck out?
Like the exact opposite of Bob Holly.
Yes.
Let me be champion. No, let me get my ass kicked.
Yeah, on my ass kicked.
Hey, and you know what? One of them got on TV all the time, and it's Ali.
That's true. Let's see. But I did like the so that was their through story here. Bloodline beating the shit out of everybody. And I was all right with that. Let me see. This is fucking layout on this is bullshit. But so it did also go directly into Street Profits match against the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
The fuck am I looking at here?
The Street Profits straight up, they just have to change. And I'll tell you this much. Montez needs to stop. He's celebrating himself for being super athletic, but later in the night, I'm watching Seth Rollins flip over the top rope. I'm watching Kevin Owens do a frog splash. There's a technique to wrestling that Montez doesn't do. He is super fucking athletic and does everything, and he celebrates his athleticism, not his ability to execute the moves. And that really takes me out of his performance. I wish I was the physique of Montez Ford. The guy's fucking incredible. He looks amazing. But you can't fake the funk. You can't embody a hip-hop artist and not have bars. Like, you have to be able to execute the thing that's in front of you. And all the swagger and all the attitude and all the performance is only going to take you so far. Without the technique, without the investment, it's not going to happen. And for me, I'm like, I said this like a year ago, if not longer. And you said it before me. I'm out on the Street Profits. Like, it's the same fucking thing over and over again. Celebrate your execution of the move, not your performance of athleticism.
Yeah. I even, as I was watching it, I was all like, I was immediately not paying attention. And producer is like, you're not even watching. I was like, of course not. Of course I'm not watching. Why would I watch this? It's the Judgment Day versus the Street Profits. And they brought in Akira Tozawa for no reason. Like, there's no point to this match. I don't need to watch this. And so I was continuing to draw and work on some graphic stuff I've been doing. And then just a couple minutes into the match, they cut to the Bloodline beating the shit out of Elias in the back. And I was all like, that's why we're having this match for no reason. Because they needed to put something on that would give the illusion of being important while actually meaning nothing, so they could cut away from it and show you what the point of this whole show is, which is the bloodline.
Right.
This was secondary immediately. And so I watched the bloodline thing, and then when they went back from picture in picture, I was like, all right, back to what I was doing before.
Right.
Jay Brizzle in the chat does say, thoughts on Solo not acknowledging or pointing when Roman isn't around? No thoughts. I think it's fine.
Well, I think they've done a good job at recentering what Solo is, which is the enforcer. Because even now the Usos and Sammy treat him as a separate piece.
Yes.
They don't expect him to acknowledge. They expect Solo to be Solo. And I think him doing that, I do think it's a play on the name as well. Solo. He's not going to do what others are doing. But I think it's also more the wrong way to word it, but the enforcement of him being the enforcer.
Yes, it singles him out as different than and special. Then, it's not him undermining Roman by any means.
I don't think so at all. And I hear so many podcasts talk about that, and I'm like, you guys got to slow down. You guys got to slow down. It's too much. That's too meta. That's too deep into something that's not even being there.
Yeah, and I do think that there's always the fun part of trying to like figure out where things are going. And so when they first saw it brought up, I was thinking about it and looking, I was like, it's a fun theory, but I don't see that at all. Like I see it as him just standing out on his own.
So you've worked in several different industries. Have you ever seen, I believe you did security too, but like, have you ever seen a bouncer or security guard dance to the music that's playing at the bar or concert venue?
Yeah.
Right. Like they're there to enforce what's going on around them. They might hear it, understand it, acknowledge it. They probably see more than anyone else. But they're not going to join in on the activities because that's not what they're there for. They're there for the enforcement.
There was a lot of years ago, I was with a girl at a club, and some other girl came over to me and asked me if I was security. And I said, no. Why? Are you okay? and then she was all like, well, I think I just need security. And she goes, aren't you security? And I goes, I'm not security, but what's going on? Like, we'll find somebody to help you. Like, what's going on? Like, I was like, at the time I was in law enforcement, but I wasn't security that night. And then I thought it was funny, and we figured out the situation and get her towards security. But I went back over to the girl I was there with, and I was like, that was really weird. They just pointed me out and thought I was security. And she goes, well, you're clearly the only one here not having any fun. You're just standing around. Of course they think you're security. And I was like, yeah, I guess I should dance a little. So to your point, this is true. But yeah, I think that he's just he's having to stand out. If he just did the thing that the Usos are doing, then he's the third Uso. He needs to be different.
And shouts to Jay Brizzle for I've seen that comment. For some reason in StreamYard, I can't chat back to them. So I'd have to pull up the Twitch to chat back. But yeah,
that's fine. So cool. Yeah, he said I've seen that, but that's also awesome. Yeah. That's also anecdotal. I think to see a security guy dancing a little. And I think it's also different seeing someone bob their head versus like full on. And it also depends on, there's a lot of factors, right? And it's anecdotal, but you're right. For by and large, security enforcer, they've really been hammering down Solo, thumbing everybody, and I've been into it.
Dude, and they said it on commentary too.
Yeah.
They thumbed him.
Yeah. Thumbed him.
They said it. I was like, Marsh is loving it. They said thumbed him.
Yeah. See, I think KP is a big fan of the show. He's a drinking buddy for sure. Thumbed him, and he goes, it's the Samoan spike. And I was like, no, he was right. It thumbed him. Definitely was right on that one. Let's see. Former nightclub bouncer, courtroom security guard here. Okay. Anecdotal still. I'm also former security corrections. So let's see. We ended up, though, with Tozawa getting involved and Rhea being mad. And then we had an actual intergender match, Rhea versus Tozawa, which was interesting.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought I wish, because we see a lot of intergender matches on the indies, I guess, because it's mostly indies. Yeah. I don't think Ruby and Josh was, that wasn't Impact, right? That was, Is that the one in Chicago? The hell's the name of it?
Warrior
I'm drawing a blank. Warrior, yeah. Was it Warrior Wrestling? I think the two of them were Warrior Wrestling. Either way, though, no, like they need to do more with contact and stop with the I can't punch you in the face. Like, you don't have to go to punch them in the face. You can do other wrestling moves.
Yeah.
You can do an arm drag. You can do a wrist lock. You can do other things to tie them up and get them in places. Like when Tozawa did the standing switch and got behind her, like, do a gentle suplex to mimic that, as opposed to I can't hit a woman, because then Rhea just becomes a bigger dick than she was beforehand. Yeah. And it's just more Rhea being Rhea. Like, that's why you're in the match, is because she was an asshole, you know? So don't show us that she's an asshole. We already know that. Give us something. Make her look the fool.
Yeah.
You know? So if they found a better way to do that, instead of skirting around the lines of can't hit a woman, because I get it. Like, I'm all about it, right? Like I told you, I waited until Becky had a non-last kicker t-shirt to get one, because I didn't feel comfortable. Like, I'm not going to promote the fact of hitting women, but it's wrestling and you have a way that you can go about it. So go about it.
Yeah.
And it's been done for years. So go about it. Find a way.
Yeah.
And with the size difference too, you can still play off of that. You don't need him to do step up insecurities and kick her in the back of the head, right? Like, and you don't need someone the size of China to do a stunner on a woman. Like, when the Dudley Boys put women through tables, it was some of the biggest spots.
Yeah.
So there's a way to go about it to celebrate wrestling and have it make sense. A lot of people want to see Rhea get her ass kicked.
Yeah.
So make her look the fool in some way, shape, or form.
At some point, yeah. But I do think that you keep building off that heat, right? Brizzle does say, could Rhea be an IC champ a la China, or is time past for it to happen again? I don't think time has passed, but I don't think we're anywhere near that position right now. I mean, look at who you have. I mean, Gunther's your IC champion now, and he's about to go up against Braun Strowman.
And that's not me laughing at Jay Brizzle's comment. Just the fact that, like, Gunther is essentially Roman. Like, there's nothing else you can do. There's no one else you can put in front of him. Like, he's basically Roman. So, and that's no disrespect to women either. It's just the character himself is built so big, so strong, so centralized. That's
what I mean. Strictly from a character standpoint, look who's in the IC championship title picture right now. You're telling me that Ricochet can't out wrestle Rhea, that Gunther can't out wrestle Rhea. You're telling me that Braun Strowman wouldn't be able to outpower Rhea? Like, she doesn't have a place in the scene right now.
I do think Rhea at some point can trip up a Theory. I think through promo, through wrestling acumen, through just confusion, because even Theory does do a really good job at playing his age, right? He's 23, 24 years old. He does a great job playing naive. He does a great job playing inexperienced, even though he has a ton of experience coming up in a game. He does a great job playing inexperienced. And if Rhea can play off of that, and they can find, I would love to see that. I actually think that might be a viable option. The way that they're both positioned right now, it is possible. I do think there's a chance to get there. When the talk of Charlotte doing it before, mostly by Bubba Ray, which was fucking foolish. He wanted Charlotte to go against Randy Orton. Like, fuck out of here. Have a good match with fucking Sasha Banks first. Actually, that's the wrong one, because she had a good match with Sasha Banks. I wanted Charlotte to have good matches with Rhea before she had matches with men. Yeah. But no, I think Rhea at some point could get there. Her size is there. Her style is there. It's a slow build, though. It's a slow build, but it can work.
I think that, and I don't even know that time has passed so much as it would take a lot of work to get there, I think, to make it.
Oh, and here's the other thing people forget.
As much.
China was 6 foot 200.
Yeah.
You know, Rhea's 5'7". She looks big because she has platforms, all that, but China was legit 6 foot. She had, bigger, broader shoulders.
Yeah.
And she was still smaller than Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero, So.
Yeah. The other thing I think people forget is that we always go back to China winning the Intercontinental Championship, but both Medusa and Jacqueline won the men's cruiserweight. And Jeff, what about Jeff? Oh, yeah, bigger.
China wrestled Jarrett as well for Intercontinental,
Yeah, but I mean, Medusa and Jacqueline both won the men's cruiserweight championships at different points, and like no one talks about that on the same way. They're also men's titles. It's just a weight class difference to make it make sense a little bit, right? But I mean, I don't know. And did it go over great when Tessa won it in Impact? You know what I mean? Like that's more recent.
She fucked that up though. I mean, right afterwards, she skipped to Mexico and they told no stories. So were they able to beat, or were they able to tell more stories afterwards? There's a possibility that could have spread, across the board. But there was nothing afterwards because I was into it. It brought me into Impact. I was like, cool. I watched the match. It was a decent match. And then there was just nothing afterwards. I was like, fuck. All right, well,
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah. Brizzle says, didn't Medusa beat Oklahoma for the cruiserweight champion? Did they give the cruiserweight championship to Oklahoma?
I don't know what Oklahoma
think that. She might have just beat the shit out of somebody. It was their fake JR. Also, another match that didn't seem to make sense for me here, but was a really good match, was Otis and Gable against the OC.
Yeah, I wrote down fun, but why? And nobody was better afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, as I was watching it, I wasn't paying attention to every single move at the point or as it was happening. And producer lady's all like, you're not focused on this one either. And I was like, well, because Otis and Gable are going to lose it. They always lose. Yeah. That's what they do now. They come out, have great matches, and lose it. So it's just to put the OC over them. And I don't know why. It's not like they're a contender for the tag championships they're trying to get around or anything. Like, just didn't. And I was like, it's just going to be a good match. So, yeah. But it was a good match. Dude, I loved towards the end, Otis picks up Gallows, holds them, and Gable dives into the back of Otis. And it was all full contact.
Yeah.
Just badass. Like, it wasn't a lot of times the two-man moves, especially with those, like, they're just tapping on each other. And, like, look at the Meltzer driver and how pointless it is for half of the team to be involved in that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like tapping on top of the shoes. And I get it because they want to make it look good, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't look good and you're trying to be safe. And I get that. And so there's all that. But that's one of many tag team maneuvers where part of the team taps them or drop kicks their partner in the back lightly. And this was one where it's just boom.
Yeah.
Fucking loved it, dude.
Yeah, I wrote that down. It looked like real people doing real stuff, not wrestlers performing wrestling moves. Because at first I was like, wait, did Gable fuck something up? But it was real people doing real stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, it was awesome. I rewatched that move like 4 times. I was like, go back, check it out again. And then Gable misses the moonsault and, fucks it all up. OC wins. And then Bloodline comes out to beat up the OC. So then I was like, oh, that's why we're doing this match for this. So the Bloodline has someone else to jump.
Real quick, in terms of missing moves, back to the Rhea Tozawa match. Tozawa missing the fucking senton.
Yeah.
Do you remember that spot? He full jumped off the turnbuckle and it just fucking back body dropped onto nothing. He did a flat back from like 15 fucking feet in the air. I was like, Jesus Christ. These guys are professionals, man. They fucking love this shit.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, the Bloodline beats up the OC.
Yeah. And I really I noticed it right away, so I was happy they went with it. But right away, Sammy runs in there and starts decking AJ. Just goes straight for AJ and starts punching on him real good. And then, dude, Sammy's doing so well trying to be a tough guy. And he comes off as a dude who's like willing to fight and happy to fight. But you also forget because like he does so much goofy stuff and he's silly and he's smiling and you know what I mean? He's dancing that you kind of go like, oh, he's a goof. But then like you see segments like this or even his promo later and you're just like, no, I mean, he's not afraid to fight. He can fight, So I really dug it. And then obviously they have the people come out, tell them to get out of here, scram. Sammy, dude, even the way Sammy was talking during this, hit him with it.
Yeah.
Did you see with his hands as he was talking, he was going like this and stuff? Yeah. And then you could even see right behind him, Jimmy was kind of like doing it with him.
So everybody loves to come to see Sammy Uso because Sammy Uso does this. Yeah. Chops up the air while he's talking.
It was so good, dude. So good. And then we ended up with an AJ Sammy pull apart for a match later, which I thought. I mean, we can talk about the match now. That match was fucking killer, dude. Are you there?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna go off of the comment that just popped up.
Let's see, Sammy Roman in Montreal. How close will that 2 count be? I mean, if we get there,
if it happens,
they should.
Yeah, if the match happens, oh hell yeah, because Roman, Roman, him, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar have no problem, absolutely no problem making their opponent look $1 million. I mean, Roman is for a while. Was it like pre-pandemic? He was the king of the 2 count, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he fucking right at 2 and 5/8, 7/8, just fucking boom. Yeah, throw it right up there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's also his thing. He was getting his ass handed to him a lot. That was our big problem with Roman as a babyface. He would just get his ass handed to him for 10 minutes and then do 1.5 minutes of offense at the end and take the win. And it was all like, and it was consistently that way.
Yeah.
But his timing got down. Like, he's like a 2.98 kind of a kick out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. A sneak haluva kick. Yeah. I
figure he's got to be. What I should start paying attention because he gets Brian Wynn a lot for his ref.
Okay.
But I wonder if there's a consistent 1 or 2 refs that will work with Roman or that Roman wants to work with because they have to be crisp on their count because he's meeting your cadence. And if you are offset at all, and you see people you see refs try to protect the guy and slow count the last one or put a pause in there, and then it's not quite as close to the 3 as you want. I could see Roman being like, do not stop that beat because I'm kicking out on the beat. And if you slow down for me, it's not as close anymore.
Right. Right. That's why I've always liked Kyoto. He had that shit down to a science.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kyoto's solid counter. Let's see.
Not you though. For a ref, you're a horrendous counter. You're episode 1 the whole way, man. It's
dude. I don't count past 1. I go 1. He's out.
He's out. Just on the outside.
No.
1.
No.
1.
My word is shouting out to LA Knight, but
yeah,
that was
3-1 an hour ago.
Yeah. Oh, I guess he shared my artwork on IG. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, I guess he just shared it.
Time lapse with it.
Yeah. Let's see. We did end up with Alexa and Bianca in what I believe to be a therapy session with Byron Saxton. But in a white elephant Christmas room holiday party for later.
Only because of Byron sucks.
Well, and they had 2 Christmas trees behind them, poinsettias, and a graphic that said "Raw Happy Holidays." Like, what?
You were vibing?
Yeah. And then they weren't in. So Byron's got the fucking socks. And Alexa and Bianca are just like normal, black and purple. And then they're just in this massive Christmas miracle. I mean, and next week they're doing the Miracle on 34th Street. Like next week is the literal holiday episode.
Right.
It was just funny to me. I was like, what the fuck? Are they doing gifts early this year? What are they doing? So I don't know.
They probably filmed it afterwards. You know what I mean? So they probably have Monday off this week because if it's a pre-tape for Friday, it's probably a pre-tape for Monday too.
They could definitely have pre-taped some segments back there for Raw.
Yeah.
And then that would make a ton of sense.
Yeah. We'll know on Monday. But I loved it. I loved it. I'm loving everything about it.
Did Alexa's voice sound different to you?
Well, because she was able to talk. She hasn't really talked in the last couple of weeks. She's been more possessed. So, she sound. You know what? To be honest, she sounded like a person instead of a character.
Her voice sounded a little deeper to me. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, she doesn't talk like she used to all the time. So, like you said, maybe I just am not as attuned to her voice.
Yeah.
But I feel like her voice was more high-pitched before. And it could also be that she was talking softly in the back and trying to be more serious. I wondered
not like project further than needed to be because she's in the back. Yeah. I can see that.
I also wondered if because she had the surgery on her nose recently. I don't think it was a nose job. I think it was a nose surgery.
Okay.
So that's why, like, I think her face looked a little thinner, and I thought maybe that messed with her voice a little bit because it can.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also could just be age. Over time, people's voices get a little bit different. So it wasn't like some weird alarming thing. I was just all like, it felt weird at first. I was like, this doesn't sound like Alexa. I was like, wait, is it supposed to sound like Alexa? I was like, or wait, is it just like a matter of her voice is a little bit deeper now? But she did an awesome job, and I loved this isn't about Bray. He's not a threat to you. I am.
Yeah.
Great line.
No, Alexa's amazing. Yeah, Alexa's amazing, and I've wanted this forever. And anytime the little fucking, Malt thing pops up, I'm ready to go. I'm all in. I gotta go dig in my crates and get my Lily doll out for the boozies next week. I'm here for it, man. Fucking, because she said it like you just said before I cut you off. Like, this isn't about Bray. This is about me. And I had mentioned it earlier how she was like, look, Bray had a hold on me, and then he left for no reason. But now that he's back, to have the pull, the gravitation on Alexa somehow, because this is the first time she really brought it up, because I excuse me, not since she introduced Lily did she say that Bray brought Lily out of her. So I believe she said it back then, where it's not that Bray had a hold on her, it's that Bray made her realize what was inside of her the whole time. And what was inside of her was Lily, who was her best friend at 5 years old, or what have you, that wanted to pull people's hair on the playground and all that shit. So I'm here for all of it. And if Alexa is going to turn into another entity a la Alexa's playground, but in a different way to what this Wyatt thing is, because again, and shouts to episode 1 last week, where Digi was saying, Alexa being Sister Abigail. That was our thought back at the Marsh match. Not you, but, the other Marsh match. Yeah. Where, because they did that, right? They flickered Alexa as Sister Abigail for Braun because of the Mixed Match Challenge. Like, great. This is Bray storytelling here. This isn't me putting these pieces together. This is Bray doing this shit. Alexa's never been Sister Abigail. She has no ties to Sister Abigail whatsoever. She is vulnerable to being, I don't want to say possessed, but possessed by the entity in which the gravitational pull Bray Wyatt is. And being vulnerable to Bray's gravitation, like, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it, because it's her best work. She's able to act. She's able to present herself. She's able to show different things besides promo, wrestle. And Alexa in that space of the acting is outstanding.
She also did a really good job of retconning a lot of that stuff that happened in between, and a lot of that weird directionless kind of thing. She did a really great job of giving that purpose.
In what, 40 seconds?
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that, like, people need to understand. Like, when me and you both, like, we're not Charlotte fans, right? When we say Charlotte needs work, that's the kind of shit we're talking about. That in 40 seconds, Alexa can fill in the blanks of almost a full fucking year of what's been going on. And if not beyond that, because if you apply what she said to WrestleMania last year and before, you're going, okay, this is what happened. This is why they were connected. This is what's going on. And being able to fill in all those blanks, like, yeah, that's why she had to step away. That's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Now we're here. This is why it has the attachment to her again in like 40 seconds, because the backstage segment was not that long. But you can have Charlotte out in front of you for fucking 5 minutes with a robotic promo that gets you nowhere.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Which was great until Becky crushed it.
Oh yeah.
I was here for the viability of because it's something different for Charlotte to be able to do. And then Becky comes out and does the man for a minute and a half and then just goes, it drops the mic. Fuck.
Yeah.
There goes the evil thing that I was kind of liking.
No. Dude, I hated the whole thing. I was like, oh no, this is going to be some stupid thing that Charlotte tries to make happen. This is some sort of fetch thing. And then Becky came out and destroyed it. And I was all like, God, I love back. She just saved us of months of horrible promo. I could just see Becky in the back too, just listening to Charlotte like practice that and be like, "Oh, I can do this thing." And it was like, It's fantastic. Jay Brizzle does say Alexa equals Aunt Howdy. Maybe. Wait,
not
that'd be
opposed.
gross. That'd be gross.
Well,
because Uncle Howdy's made a fleshlight to begin with.
He's made of a fleshlight?
Yeah. Look at his face. That's a fleshlight.
I don't own a fleshlight, but if a fleshlight looks like Uncle Howdy's face, I don't want a fleshlight.
Come on, dude. Well,
I don't want to hand fuck an Uncle Howdy mask.
Well, here's the deal: is I got a tracking confirmation that your gift is showing up soon. You might as well just hit return to sender and pop it back. So if you're not going to use it,
I tell you what,
just
if
pop
I
it
take
back.
it out the box, if I take it out the box and it has one of those mustaches on it, I'll send it back.
Dude,
but if it doesn't,
just manscape the fleshlight.
That's the first time that's ever been said.
Yeah.
Manscape the fleshlight.
Yes. Absolutely.
Sponsored, not sponsored on both.
Yeah. Sponsored, not sponsored. Fleshlight and Manscaped. 2 for 1, man.
I tell you, that's a twist though, real quick to Jay Brizzle's point. That's a twist I wouldn't mind, because we almost got that at WrestleMania where Alexa was in power, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Alexa stopped the Fiend from performing on Randy, and that's what made the Fiend lose. It looked like Alexa had the power at that time. So if Alexa absorbed all the Bray gravitation and is now expounding it the way Uncle Howdy was portrayed, then cool. I'm cool with an Aunt Howdy, but it's got to make sense. And Bray's too powerful for that. He's not going to follow the lead. He's going to be in the lead.
She should also have a big giant rubber mask, though.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So then we end up with a ladder match. It was a 2 for 1 special, double or nothing, ladder match for the brass ring.
Real quick. So I know that you love this so much. I'm going to pee real quick and let you talk about it for the next minute.
But I was going to ask you about how dead the crowd was. This was, God, I'm just so out on everything Dexter, and the crowd did not seem to care about it. They weren't anticipating a victor at any point. Again, we've talked about how much the internet wants to say that WWE pipes in crowd noise for when they want a bigger reaction than they're getting. I think that if you have the belief that WWE pipes in crowd noise all the time, then you don't end up. What's your argument here where you have a crowd this dead? Crowd did not care, no matter who was grabbing it. They were not on their feet. There was a few people here and there, but that's going to happen wherever you're at. I saw people online complaining, like, why is this crowd so dead? This crowd they're so rude. I don't think you can blame the crowd for getting bored, but they clearly were bored, so much so that every time they went on the outside, they were heavily chanting for tables. They're basically begging for something to happen that they want to see. I think when a crowd chants for tables specifically in an already gimmick-filled match, they are bored. And this is their way of saying, please do something exciting or something for me to pay attention to. None of this matters. They're so dead that Bronson shows up and there's no reaction to him either.
Yeah.
I think Corey did the best job he could of trying to say that's Bronson Reed. We haven't seen him ever on Raw. He was quite a force in NXT. But at the same time, the majority of your Raw audience, he said colossal.
He says colossal man. Yeah.
Yep. And he said that's not a splash, that's a tsunami. Like, Corey did a great job filling in the crowd at home, but the crowd there didn't know who he is. And I think it's also fine to do sometimes. And I don't think every return should be a massive pop. And I don't think that every return is expected to be a big moment for everyone in the audience. I think some appearances should be a quiet, who the fuck is that? And I think that this would have worked for him if it weren't for the fact that he's suddenly in a program that nobody cares about already. You're adding more people into a thing that should have less.
Well, they said he was a force in NXT when he did the thing to Dexter Lumis as if they had beef in NXT, which they didn't. They never crossed paths like that in NXT, right? They didn't. Yeah, they didn't have a program or anything, so it definitely was fart gun emoji, because it fell on silence. I mean, I fucking like that was the one thing. Like while I'm watching a football game, when it goes to commercial, I'll just run through Twitter to see if like anything cool's happening. And when I saw Bronson Reed showed up, I was like, "Fuck, man, I'm a Bronson guy. I fucking love him." When he was Thick Boy, and then even when he turned to the Colossal, and he changed everything. When he would stomp on the step and they would shake the camera to like show that he was bigger than life, and then his presentation into the North American ladder match, like he really had a vibe to him that was easy to get behind. And then, of course, he gets released out of nowhere, and there we are. But when he came back, and he's one of those guys. Like we were talking about this a little bit beforehand on when they get released from WWE and they don't show up anywhere. Did they really want this? When he got released, he showed up everywhere he could because he wants this. He fucking loves wrestling. Yeah. I saw a Twitter account. I apologize for not writing it down. But they said something about Bronson Reed beating Okada in New Japan during their tournament of whatever.
Yeah.
And now he's back with WWE. Like, they're kind of disappointed. And I'm like, well, when we project on what we want for them and what they want, does he want to be on a massive stage with a great contract? Or does he want to travel all around the world having these awesome matches? Not for nothing. I didn't go out of my way to watch any of his matches, but I went as it popped up on my feed. I never stopped following him. So when he puts out something, I retweet it. I like it. I show him support. But like, hey, he's home now and I get to watch him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot more to their careers than just having a good match in Japan, right? Like, I think something that you can't discount is visibility, residuals. You get big on the WWE stage, WWE's not going anywhere. WWE's the only wrestling company that's never gone anywhere. All of them have, no matter how popular you were in ECW, you're not getting residuals from ECW.
Right.
Your best hope for somebody who made it big in another company is that WWE buys out that company when it goes out of business so that they can merchandise your name and you could potentially get a Legends contract through someone else. Like, right? You're not ending up with a ton of residuals for a long period of time. Look, these careers are going longer than they used to, but they used to be really short, right?
Right.
But you need to be a big name on their stage for you to be able to have the visibility to be able to always cash in on your own likeness. You know what I mean? So much so, I saw the PWI Hall of Fame, people were trashing because Jim Johnston, I think, either almost made it in or did make it in and had more votes than people who were like promoters of territories that were like very, very successful and stuff. And I get the argument of, well, like, this is clearly a younger crowd voting at this point, because if I say, hey, Jim Johnston is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He's one of the best theme makers ever.
Sure. But to vote him above like I think the Briscoes weren't in there. Sergeant Slaughter didn't make it. To be like that he's done more for the business than, these guys. It's like, okay, that is a very easy argument to say that he did not do more for the business than the people who kept Houston wrestling alive forever. You know what I mean? But it just shows that there's like a younger audience there, right? You're going to go to these meet and greets to meet a Jim Johnston more so than, I don't know, like, fuck. Okada's not filling up tables at StarCast. You know what I mean? Like, he might at some, but not. I remember, who was the one?
Maybe at StarCast, but not WrestleCon.
Yeah, not WrestleCon. Like when I went
StarCast,
and saw,
he might because it's the AEW association.
Tanahashi was the one who was at StarCast, right?
Oh,
and he had never done an American promotion, and I was there at the StarCast. He did not have a line. He's a fucking legend, But Bret Hart still had a bigger line. You know what I mean? We just have a different fan base going out there. So I do think that there's something to be said for him coming back to be able to have the recognizability to be able to promote himself long term after he's done wrestling. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, Jay Brizzle does say John Gonzalez style. Yeah, you can have an appearance of a dude who's a beast and you go, what the fuck was that? You know, and that's okay. The problem is that he's coming back in the middle of all these other comebacks that have also been flat that weren't meant to be.
Yeah, I think, again, back to last week when you were saying that Triple H seems to be booking on screen what's in his head. There's so many gaps that are missing. Like I thought this match was pretty cool, but it was too long. And
way too long.
I'm not invested for a multi-segment ladder match between The Miz and Dexter Lumis because the story didn't bring me there.
Yeah.
If the story was that these guys are coming up from NXT from the way and The Miz is tying into that, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't that. It was what you said for months now. Johnny's return in its own is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
He's presented as fucking Shawn Michaels, and he's not. There's nothing about him. Not even his original theme that they changed. That Rebel Heart theme, like, it's good and it's recognizable. But again, without telling us who he is, without telling the 2 million people that watch Raw that didn't watch NXT who he is, the people who come to the stadiums, my son, who I love taking to wrestling events, doesn't go to NXT events because we don't live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
If Johnny Gargano comes out, you know the first thing he's going to say is, who is that?
Yeah.
Because we're not getting a video package that I can show him on YouTube. We're not getting one on Raw that I can show him, hey, this is who that guy is. He can't even say, okay, cool. He's going to say, hey, Dad, what's he looking for in the stands? And I'll say, oh, the 6 people that are actually clapping for him.
Yeah, he's looking for a single Johnny shirt.
Yeah. So they're giving him too much TV time. I thought Johnny was horrendous. There was a point where Dexter gets out of the ring.
Yeah.
And Johnny points to the ladder that Dexter's going to get as if he's doing the Rey Mysterio to Dom Mysterio in the match. You know, like he's walking Dexter through the match. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't need to be here.
Yeah.
Dexter is awesome. The way he was moving around when fucking he crawled out of the ring on his knuckles, and I forgot which one said it. But one of the commentary goes, who moves like that?
Yeah.
That uniqueness of Dexter and what he does is more special than having Johnny next to him. Showcase Dexter. You don't need Johnny.
I mean, big shout out to Bronson Reed growing his mullet out, so it's not a gross mullet anymore. So really excited about that, if I'm being honest. Looks good again. But then you've also put him in the middle of this program, which sucks already that nobody cares about. And now there's a picture of Miz looking like an absolute idiot with his arm around Bronson, who's trying to look like a badass, and you go, nope. I don't need another person in this. I just need this to be over and everyone to go their separate ways. Like,
right.
This feels like a bad way to start for Bronson, but I know that everyone trusts Miz to get everyone over in their program, and Miz is consistent and he's this and that, and they'll get them to boo. And I think Miz has proven a few times that he's not capable of all things.
In this case, though, it's not the Miz's fault.
I don't think it is.
If Johnny stopped being Johnny and allowed the Miz to do the Miz, Johnny can pull from that and elevate from where he is now. But what he's doing is he's combating what the Miz is doing.
Yeah.
The Miz is saying this, and Johnny's going, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Instead of combating, he can listen and rise above, and they would continue to elevate each other and give Miz another direction to go. But they're just doing this. They're trying to show us that Johnny is equal to Miz, and therefore it's bringing Miz down. And I think that's why you're not digging it.
Yeah, I agree. Brizzle says, should Bronson have destroyed everyone involved? Maybe it would have made him more interesting.
You know, for Bronson's sake, yes. For the story's sake, yes. End the story. You know,
that's true.
But they're not going to end the story. Whatever's happening is happening now, right? So what are they going to say? Oh, I decided not to pay Loomis. I paid Reed instead. Like,
yeah, you could. And I do think that, like you said, for the story's sake, you could easily do that in the way of Bronson destroys everybody, Miz wins, gets the money, and now Dexter and Johnny can focus on Bronson, and at least you have a story there, and Miz can just run away because why wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Oh, I got the money in one. I don't. Oh, I don't need. Oh, I proved to them that I don't have any business with them. Like, I got no beef. I won. It's fine. And then you can have a story with people involved that maybe.
What if Bronson destroyed all of them, climbed the ladder, took the money, and then his promo afterwards was, "Come take it from me."
Yeah. That'd be great. He just stares at. Well, I mean, I thought that was great. The KP said it on commentary. Is he here to take the money?
Right.
Corey's like, I don't know. Let's see. AJ versus Sami Zayn. Fucking perfect match.
Yep.
I don't know if it's on purpose. And I think Sami Zayn and AJ Styles are smart enough to do it on purpose. AJ Styles is the only one that Sami Zayn ever beats with the Blue Thunder Bomb. And it's how he always wins against AJ. Like, that's it. He doesn't win against AJ using a different move. That move takes out AJ, and everyone else kicks out of it. I don't know why. I don't know. I know that every time Sammy does the move and someone kicks out of it, he looks like pissed and shocked and like, what the fuck? And you could almost equate that to, well, this got the phenomenal one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The way that they have seemingly portrayed this as AJ's greatest weakness, this Blue Thunder Bomb. I fucking love it. Because as soon as he did the Blue Thunder Bomb, I even said going into it, and I was all like, AJ is the only one who has ever lost a Blue Thunder Bomb. And as we're watching, he does Blue Thunder Bomb, and I was all like, no way. And he does it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's my biggest problem with Sammy is that he doesn't win with it. So when he won with it again, I was like, fucking right. And I forgot that it was AJ that lost to it before.
It's always AJ.
And I tell you, maybe AJ's like the Undertaker, right? The Undertaker hates getting chops. So he tells everyone he works with, you get one. You get one. So he lets him chop him once. So maybe AJ doesn't like getting kicked in the face. Like, no haluva kicks. I don't want to get kicked in the face.
Can I do the Blue Thunder Bomb? Sure.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. You serious? You'll let me win with that? I don't ever win
with that. They did a good
that,
job too. The distraction, getting attacked, and then so causing some weakness beforehand. Yeah. No, they were great, man. They were awesome together.
You should bring back the bar just so Solo can come out and thumb them both. But, let's see. Moving along though, Seth Rollins promo battle with Austin Theory, which I thought it was a little long, but really well executed. Babyface Seth is a little weird. Even in Iowa, I get it, but he's been babyface from before then, and it's just kind of interesting.
So when the promo came up, I was kind of taken out because what did Seth do earlier in the night? He did something else beforehand. He came out for something else, right?
No, he didn't come out, I don't think. He was in the back, and he was showing his Iowa shirt and threw it on somebody in the back and stuff, and was just kind of like dancing around and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm definitely cool with Seth being all over TV. That's not a problem. But it's got to connect. So when it got to this point, I was like, well, didn't we just see Seth doing something before? So, didn't he come out at the open of the show?
Seth?
Yeah, like with the Bloodline when they opened. I thought he came out in the beginning of that too.
I didn't think so. I thought he just talked about the Bloodline in this one.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
it's cool to see. So we talked about the last time I was on, and we both missed the fact that Bobby versus Seth was for the number one contender of the U.S. title. Like, that's why they were promoing back and forth and the story they were building. I do think Theory is missing something, but it's good to see Seth add layers to who he is. Like when he said that, like, I haven't been to the top of the mountain, I am the mountain. It shows that, because he didn't even say, he's like, look, I'm the only person, he could have said, I'm the only person that's beaten Roman in fucking 2 years because he won by DQ, right?
Yeah.
No one else has beaten Roman. So he could say that. Like, I can choose to go for the title if I wanted to, because I'm the only one who's beaten Roman in fucking 2 years. Like,
yeah.
I was waiting for him to say that, but like him saying that he is the top of the mountain, it's like, okay, this is what me and you have talked about, I believe, since episode 1. It's not necessarily about having a title on the show. It's how important does the show feel? And Seth not needing a title, but feeling super important is fantastic. He said it. The man makes the title doesn't make the man.
Yeah.
The title will make Austin Theory, but Seth Rollins will make anyone across from him. That man will make whoever it is. You put the title on Seth, yes, it will feel that more important. But Austin Theory beating Seth to retain the title, I think will actually mean more than him beating Seth to win the title, if that makes sense.
I also think Seth is the perfect person to say that he knows more than anyone that the title doesn't make the man makes the title, because he's had both successful and unsuccessful title reigns based off of his character at the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So what better example of what makes the title important, the title or the person? It's very much where that character is in that time.
Yep.
You know, his Universal title run was shit. But the Brock feud was just not going.
He beat Brock Lesnar twice in the same year. And it did nothing for him.
Yeah.
It did nothing for him.
It's crazy. Because his character was that flat to the fans.
Yep.
But at the same time, when he was with the Authority and was the world champ, people thought it was the greatest thing, you know? So, but I liked here where he goes, oh shit, the Bloodline, what to deal with this later? And then Theory and Seth kind of like look up at the Bloodline, and I looked over at Producer Lady and I was like, Theory's going to roll out.
Ugh.
I was like, watch it. He's going to roll out. And then he fucking starts to take his jacket off, puts it on, rolls out, and Seth looks at him pissed and then just kind of smiles like, yeah.
Here we go again.
Why would you stay for me? And then they just start beating the snot out of Seth. KO comes out to help out. And then you get the old main event set up. KO and Seth against the Usos. I was excited about it, but at the same time, I thought the next match actually to me was the real main event.
Before we jump into that,
right,
can I give you a main event moment first?
Go ahead.
You were naming off everyone who got attacked by the Bloodline in the back, but you left out a couple names. I don't remember who the other one was, but Dolph Ziggler got attacked as well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what happened when Dolph Ziggler got attacked? He was selling his neck as if it hurt.
Yeah.
And then he kept flipping his hair
to
make sure his face can be seen. He flipped his hair like 8 fucking times, and every time he did, he grabbed his neck. And I'm thinking to myself, will you stop flipping your fucking hair?
Yeah.
If your neck hurts, just do one of these, man. Just do one of these. Run it to the back. And then just, while you're back there, when you put your hair down, just hold your fucking neck. I mean, look, I can't talk about hair, right? I don't know what to do with it, but I've seen enough hair. I know people with hair. I've been around hair. If it's that fucking long and you got to keep whipping it when your fucking neck hurts, how about you stop whipping your fucking hair?
I loved it. I think he even said something smarmy too. I'm trying to remember what he said, because they asked him about like what happened, and I think it was kind of a
what happened. The Bloodline happened.
Yeah. I love Dolph. He's so good. But yeah, so there's that, and then we do have what I thought I'd be waiting till WrestleMania to see, Becky versus Bayley in the most confusing household match I've ever experienced. I'm like wearing a Becky shirt with a Bayley sweater on, going like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. But it was awesome, dude. It was as good as you would expect it to be. They left some on the table by having the cheap shot stuff, so you can always revisit it. I don't remember if Becky or Bayley won last time they had a match, because it was like 4 years ago or
so
something.
long ago, man. Yeah, so long ago.
So I don't know if this is like rubber match quality. Hey, Becky and Bayley
It's
both
not.
have one.
It means nothing.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't attach it to anything. Because even their story coming to this point is that they were ships sailing in the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not building off of history. They're not building off
That's
of,
true.
like Natty Charlotte. Oh, you beat me in NXT for the title. Like, they're not
That's
doing
true,
any of that. Yeah.
They didn't bring it up. Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, so I wouldn't even, like we talk about with other shit. I wouldn't fill that blank in. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. But the match was great, and then Damage Control provides enough of a distraction so Bayley can stab Becky in the back, just like Becky accused her of doing. Hits her with, what was it, the monitor?
Yes.
And gets the sneaky win. Also, Becky kicked out of the Bayley to belly.
Yes. The monitor, though, was what Becky took off to fight off Damage Control.
Yes.
So it wasn't as if it was a kendo stick and then a chair. It was the same monitor.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's the kind of shit, again, when I'm watching wrestling, and I'm not Mr. Pick Apart the nuance, but I will notice when the nuance is consistent.
Yes.
And something like that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have if somebody if someone brings the title in and then it just marinates in the corner for fucking 30 minutes and it's like, well, that's going to go to somebody, a great one where the nuance kind of filtered together was Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar in their final match. Or not the final match, the one before the final match where they had the crowbar and the brass knucks, or that was the final match, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way they gathered the weapons and they got to the spots and then they went to the point where they went to use the objects. If you watch it back, you can go, oh, okay, that's how that. But watching it in one shot, it's fluid.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this whole monitor situation was. It was like, fuck, Becky did pull that monitor off. It's even Becky's fault that Bayley used it.
Yep. Yeah, I loved that detail. The fact they kept that detail in there.
Yeah. No, I thought it was awesome. Was it Becky's baseball slide to the outside? Fucking was it? Yeah, Bayley took it all, right? Because it split the Red Seas there. Like, yeah, she took the whole fucking thing. She's just like, go ahead, kick me, fuck it. Like,
yeah.
And then this is what the one thing I wrote down that I had to make sure I say, because you kind of said it too. You said they left more on the table. This match itself, like, at first I didn't feel much story, like we were talking about, right? Like, this isn't necessarily based off the past. Watch out for the Bayley to belly, watch out for the arm, the disarm her. It wasn't necessarily that. I felt like it was vets doing moves, kind of feeling each other out. Like, if me and you play Street Fighter for the first time, we're going to go to what we know. We're going to kind of do this. Okay, the next time we play, we're going to have a better feel for what we're doing. Yes. And I think the next time that they wrestle, you're going to see an enhanced version of what this match was because they were feeling each other out.
Yes.
So just like when you had asked me about the Santos Ricochet match, do you think we're going to see more? Absolutely, because they left so much on the table to be discovered.
Yeah. I agree, and I can't wait. And I still think we can get to a match where they're at Mania, and it means something because you could even still build this for a while and get to a point where you have, some sort of cage or Hell in a Cell or something where you can't have interference. Like, you could easily get there by having Bayley get this win here. So,
which was odd, right? Because again, the whole Xia Li aspect of it, right? Is that going to factor into what's going to happen the next time? Are we going to have ourselves a moment where Damage Control becomes so big that they're going to become a part of all of this, right?
Yeah.
If not, and we are moving in this direction, because that's the thing. As soon as you said Hell in a Cell, I'm like, fucking right, man, build towards it. Just the two of them building towards it. And then you said Damage Control. I was like, fuck, I don't want to keep them out. I don't want to keep Damage Control out. I don't want Damage Control there at all. I want them to go into Hell in a Cell and beat the piss out of each other until there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Like the way Sasha and Charlotte did it, right? The way they built to it was, we have no choice but to beat the shit out of each other inside of Hell in a Cell. Yeah. That's what I would like to see.
Absolutely. And that's what I want us to get to as well. But yeah, it was just a perfect match, dude. I was cheering for everything that happened, but I'm really happy that Bayley got the win. And then
It surprised me. Not the Bayley win when it happened, because I felt like there was more match to go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, hey, are we still going? Are we still going? You know, because again, like I said, it was move to move. It wasn't, you know, the story of the match. It wasn't the psychology of the match. It was just like vets kind of feeling each other out. And yes, they built to bigger moves. But to the whole point of using the foreign object, that's what deads the match. Boom. So yeah, it was great. They're awesome. And we talked about it the last time I was on episode 1. This Bayley versus this Becky has nothing to do with, like, educationally those Baileys versus those Beckys back then. Yeah. So we're in for a real treat, especially me and you.
Oh yeah, dude, it is amazing. I was sitting there cheering for the Bayley win and also apologizing to Becky at the same time. Sorry, Becky, I'm so happy right now.
But she'll understand how happy you are for things to come, because what's coming out of this is going to be something special.
It's going to be dope.
You know, it would suck if they did it. That would suck.
Just move on.
Yeah.
They just move on to Candice LeRae or some shit. Yeah.
Right. And me and you, we'll be doing episode 1 week and a half after week and a half, or every other week after every other week, going, yeah, but you know that Bayley Becky, man, if they just go back to Bayley Becky, if they just go back to SummerSlam comes around, you know, remember when they did Bayley Becky right before the new year? When the fuck are we getting that again? And that's just all we'll talk about for the next fucking 6 months.
Yeah, that's going to be it. And then we had the main event, Usos against Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. Match goes off. Wait, who won? Because I remember the stuff after the match, but did they actually win?
KO got the he did it. Him and Jimmy had a great sequence at the end. There's a pop-up powerbomb that Jimmy missed, or that he studied for, as commentary said. Came through with the missed clothesline, hit the rope, pop-up powerbomb.
That's right. Done. Yep. The only reason I was thinking that maybe they lost was that Austin Theory came out and interfered. I do get tired of seeing interference that doesn't equate to the finish of the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I do think that if you're going out there to give someone the advantage and the people with the advantage still lose, that's not great. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. So this was something I was going to give Triple H credit for, because he is getting clunky with how he's presenting things. He filtered in the OC with the Bloodline, Kevin Owens and the Bloodline, Austin Theory with Seth Rollins. So Austin Theory didn't come out on the behalf of the Bloodline. So the Bloodline losing isn't a disservice to the interference of Austin Theory, because Austin Theory attacked Seth Rollins for the sake of their feud. Sure. So if Solo was the one to take out Seth Rollins, he would focus on Kevin Owens next to make sure that Kevin Owens didn't fuck up with the match. Austin Theory didn't care whether Seth Rollins won or lost. He cared that Seth Rollins wasn't conscious anymore.
Right. But you have the Bloodline having interference by Sammy, Solo, and Theory and still lose the match. Is my point. Like, there's only so much interference you can have to give yourself the advantage, where it just starts to make them look a little weak, that even with the advantage, they can't take advantage of it. That's not to say that Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins aren't superpowered, because they are. If it was other people, I'd be really upset about it. You know what I mean? It's these two, so you go, yeah, I mean, they're really fucking good. But
so give Triple H the credit then of the structure here. The OC comes out and takes care of Solo, right? Mm-hmm. And then Jay gets the one-up on the OC. Seth Rollins takes out Jay. So now Jay and Solo are taken out of the match. Then Seth gets taken out by Theory. Then Jimmy loses to KO. So they did structure it in a way to show you that the interference was now handled. They weren't just laying down on their side or busy doing some other shit. They were actually defactored from the match. And then Sammy didn't come in until after the match was over.
Yeah. I mean, and they did structure it in a way where it became Kevin Owens, Jimmy Uso one-on-one.
Yes.
because of so much interference going on the outside with the other stuff. But then you also kind of go, why wasn't there just a DQ at some point? How dumb is the ref? But we did end up with a one-on-one match for the last 2 minutes.
Right. If it was Solo that took out Seth Rollins, then Solo should then go after KO. But it wasn't. It was Austin Theory, and Austin Theory has no beef with KO. So he wouldn't go from Seth to KO. So that's why them kind of structuring it that way would lead you to believe that that one-on-one between Jimmy and KO is now just in a vacuum because that's what's left of this match based on interferences that don't involve Kevin Owens.
Yes. Yeah. Which is why it worked here. And why I was happy to see Damage Control cause a victory for Bayley. Because I think that we get a lot of interferences that don't equate to the finish of the match. And I think that's a bummer when that happens. So.
Right.
Because it just makes people look dumb. And then you get the stare down of Kevin Owens and Sammy at the end, which I love.
Yeah, Sammy tried to sneak him.
Yeah. And then the way that Kevin was looking at him, too, was like, I guess we have to fight. Like, I mean, it was this weird, like, I don't know. It's hard to read it in a way, in a good way. You know what I mean?
Because Kevin said it, right? He's like, I'm done with you, Sammy.
Yeah.
But why would Sammy be done with Kevin Owens? Why wouldn't Sammy attack him?
Yeah, he can't be done with
that was my issue.
Yeah.
So why didn't
it was great.
You tell me.
Oh, why didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, for one, he didn't have backup, for one.
He doesn't need backup. He's Sam Uso. Was he not feeling Uzi?
Yeah, he wasn't feeling very Uzi at the time.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, like, it's that whole heel, no, when I'm ready.
Right. You know what I mean?
When I want it. You know
all my guys are down.
Yeah, all my guys are down. You're anticipating it. You want it. You're into it. I'm not going to give it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to fight you right now. Then I won't fight you right now. I want to fight you when you don't want to fight. Because I want you to know that you're on my time. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the impression I got in a much more subtle and less egotistical way of just like, it's not right. I mean, he could talk about it. It didn't feel right. Something was off. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just had that match with AJ.
But it also adds to the strength of what they did all night. The fact that Solo and the Usos were down for the count. To your point, like he didn't have the backup. The confidence in having the strength of them, even not that they were right next to him, but even standing up. They weren't standing up. Because even when they panned to Sammy on the ramp, he was gathering Solo up. He was gathering Jay up. You know, he even called Jimmy over towards the end of the cameras going off. So and in a way, hey, it's more important for me to get my bloodline back together to take care of them than it is to deal with pesky little you. You know what I mean? Right.
Like, yeah, I could fight you, or I can go get my brothers. You know what I mean? Like, he could play off the whole thing. So, but yeah, dude, I'm into it. Like I said, a lot of the things that were good were fucking phenomenal. And the things that were flat was a plate of piss. Just as flat as can be.
Well, which is why I think I felt a positive vibe to the show. Because like you said, the things that were flat, they were interrupted by a bloodline beatdown. You know, except for the Miz Loomis match. That was in a isolation on its own. I think it was like 3 segments that had happened. And like I said, it was too long. If it wasn't that long, and if they condensed that and felt more like, because it didn't need to go anywhere. There was no stakes. It wasn't the IC title. Like, make it 8 minutes. You know, like, and it didn't need to be a ladder match. It could have been anything.
Yeah, the ladder thing was.
Yeah. But look, I had fun watching it, but then I just, if it didn't feel long, it'd have been great, you know. So I don't know, but that was the only thing not interrupted by a bloodline beatdown that kind of fucked the show. But yeah, once like you said, you feel the vibe of the show and you understand that it's about the bloodline being the through line in the show, it all makes more sense. So
yeah, and it makes the pointless match, it gives them a point, because like, I mean, at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a competitive industry, right? Where it's supposed to be like, hey, wins and losses get you towards here. So of course Street Profits would want a match against the Judgment Day because it's tag team, more wins the better. they can show their dominance against other tag teams. Like, I mean, it is supposed to be, even back in the day, a lot of it was just here's just a bunch of cold matches we're having because we have competitors and it's a fighting show and we need to have matches. Like, giving a through line that kind of made those matches have a high point to them that were not the match themselves, but also gave credence to the fact that matches are going to be going on, and if something doesn't go as planned, it's chaos.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it worked because I do think that we as wrestling fans can be tough about why we're watching a match. And I think part of the problem is a good problem to have is we've gotten to the point where so many matches are just good to great that we really are getting tired of just a bunch of great matches for no reason. The things that hook us are the things that mean something and get us invested in the time because we already know the match will be good.
Well, that's
it's
the
not
thing.
Like you're watching a match to see if this is good or bad.
Right. Like Jericho said on Twitter, like, we are professionals, but we will fuck up every once in a while, right? Like, he was trying to cover for the fact that AEW fucks up a lot.
Yeah.
The product that we get, period, wrestling-wise, is so crisp, so clean, especially in WWE, that when something fucks up, I mean, the crowd even did it, right? You fucked up. You fucked up. Because it's noticeable. Like, and the fact that it happens repetitively in AEW, like, that is a problem. But to your point, the reason why the story matters so much is because on the eye, not the talent, on the eye, the wrestling part's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy for them to show us an awesome match. Not from their perspective, from our perspective. Like, I don't want to discredit the work they do because I can't fucking do it. But even Stone Cold, right? He comes out for WrestleMania and he does the most incredible, awesome entertainment the entire fucking time. You know? But, like, what kind of story do we have? So here's the thing, right? Like Logan Paul, his stories suck, but his matches execute. If he does that 10 more fucking times, we're going to go, okay, man, but, like, are you any better on the mic? Are you any better at telling us a story, right? Like, if Rey Mysterio versus Ali has a 10-star match, it's like, yeah, of course it will. But can the two of them, like, give us a story? Like, that'd be fucking awesome. That's the layer we're looking for with Ricochet. That's the layer we're looking for with Ali. That's the layer we're looking for with Austin Theory. If Austin Theory can start to tell stories, fuck, man, we got 20 years of that guy being awesome.
Yeah. And I think that it's a good problem to have when the baseline talent is so good that it becomes increasingly more difficult to watch just good wrestlers have great matches or vice versa without being invested in someone. So at this point, if you're going to give me a cold match, there better be two people in that match that I really like in general as people, because otherwise I'm not going to watch just another good match for no reason.
Great example. Great example.
Which is unfair. It's not fair to them.
No, 205 Live.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't it take off? There's nothing to it.
Great matches.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's literally 99% great matches.
Yeah.
Why didn't it take off? There's no invested storylines. It was nothing but great matches, but there's nothing to watch. There's nothing to get into. There's nothing to grab you. There's nothing to keep you there. Do I want to watch a great match? All right, cool. I'll turn it on. What am I doing this weekend? Am I going to fucking, I don't know. It's Christmas weekend. I'm going to bake cookies all day long. I'll put on 205 Live. So every time I look up, I see something awesome. Yeah. But I don't have to sit and pay attention because there's no story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I did want to just bring up that we're a little harsh on them sometimes. We're like, I mean, even the opening one, Street Profits and Judgment Day, I don't like Street Profits enough to just watch them in a cold match. You have to give me a reason to watch them because I just don't like them very much. I find them obnoxious, which is also going to make it difficult for me to care about them because I'm not going to probably listen to them talk either.
Well, like I said earlier when we talked about Raw, like everything Montez does, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins does better as wrestlers.
Yeah.
They don't look more athletic. They don't look more impressive athletically. But in context of wrestling, they do it better.
Yeah.
Like when Montez does a fucking a wrist lock and brings it behind the back and cranks it and does like, come on, dude. Like that's not impressive. When he flips over the top, it's like, yeah, dude, you got springs for knees. Yeah. You know, your calves are fucking trampolines. We get it.
Yeah.
Where's the snug? Where's the fluidity? Where's the mystique? You know, his frog splash is impressive because he shows you how high he wants to jump. But is there anything that looks more impactful than a Kevin Owens frog splash?
Oh, or the Tsunami by Bronson?
Or the Tsunami. His Tsunami, the way that was shot on Raw was fucking incredible. There was times in NXT where he looked like he was falling off the top rope. But the way they did it on Raw looked like he got so fucking high and came down so centered.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
It's insane. Yeah, and you look at Dexter and you go, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
He's done. There's no moving. And at the same time, I'd watch a Tsunami and go, oh my God, that looks crazy. 9 times out of 10 more times than Montez's height, because he doesn't land hard. He goes high, but he springs when he goes down, and he goes down for another. He takes 2 bumps on one bump, and you go, he looks light as a feather.
One of the things about Eddie Guerrero doing a frog splash is that he would get tight, he would get athletic, but when he landed, he stayed.
Yeah.
Like even Rob Dan, he would flop up, but when he came up, he would come back down on you. So it was almost as if it was 2 bumps in one on one person. But Montez cannot wait to hit you and then jump off.
Yeah.
So where's the impact? What are you actually enforcing on your opponent?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't look impactful. But yeah, no, and I think he wrestles like a kid on a trampoline. Watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me. And you go, okay, but you know what I mean? Like he's more focused on you watching him and look what I can do versus I'm hurting this person. He's asking for eyes on him to impress you, but he's not looking to win a fight.
That honestly, that's literally my problem with the Young Bucks. They have no problem showing you how many moves they can do to one person, but they never let one of those moves settle into the person they did it to show you how good they are at performing damage. Yeah, they show you how good they are at performing moves. They always do stuff. They do so many things that I can't do. They're fucking crazy athletic. But how many of it actually hurts their opponent?
And they never go for a pin. They almost never go for a pin. I used to like when JR would call it out. He doesn't anymore, but he used to be like, we're 10 minutes into this match and no one's gone for a single pin. You'd think they're not trying to win this. Or he'd say something like, someone's going to have to go for a pinfall if they're going to try to win this matchup. And, Excalibur would be like, well, they're just trying to, get as much damage as they can. And he goes, but to what end? Like, for what? But, it's like the whole I'm not paid by the hour thing when you'd see short, impactful matches. With the Bucks, you think that they're paid by the hour, because they don't try to win. Yeah. But we'll talk more about the Bucks tomorrow, probably on a new episode 1 here with Miss Amanda Jane for our Thursday night chaser. Bishop, thank you for coming through and having a drink with us on episode 1. You want to put over where people can find you or anything, where they can send you Christmas gifts?
Yeah, man.
Fleshlights,
please go to my Amazon store, Amazon at TW Takes Podcast. There's about 157 fleshlights on there because the first 3, because I'm a 160 guy, the first 3 were bought and purchased. Thank you, Marsh. No, in all seriousness, just hit me up on Twitter at TW Takes Podcast, TWTakesPodcast.com for all audio platforms. I'm out there. I'll be back at some point, whatever. But until then, you can find me at minimum, most likely every other week here on Wrestling on the Rocks. I look forward to doing the boozies if you'll have me. That'll be a blast, as it was last year. We had a great time. So, yeah, man. Fucking wrestling is awesome. And to everyone out there, happy holidays if you're not a Christmas person. If you're a Christmas person, Merry Christmas. It's, as some people would say, they even made a song about it, the most wonderful time of the year.
That's true. I've heard that. But over here, we don't get white Christmases. We get a brown Christmas. Just how we do it in AZ. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.